Straight lines can curve.
How utterly insane do you have to be to sit there and say that?
The internal angles of a triangle must always add up to more than 180, and parallel lines do intersect, because they can be parallel, but then they intersect. Those lines are still straight because they are a straight line. Straight lines can curve.
But we've come to the point where nothing actually means what it says. And that gets us into an emperor's new clothes kind of mentality, where it's not one kid in the crowd going, hey, that guy's naked. It's the whole country going, wait, again with this? Again with the name of a thing that doesn't seem to reflect the thing.
The line that connects them will be curved, and that line will be level. To level can be a curved line.
You are so in denial. You need therapy.
Because straight lines can be curved.
Let me laugh even harder.
How utterly insane do you have to be to sit there and say that?
This is that message to you, even if I were pollinated and fully I would admire for withstanding the greatest pressure I've ever seen. From partners, parents, children, friends, colleagues, and even doctors. People who are capable of such personality, courage, and critical ability are undoubtedly the best part of humanity. They are everywhere, in all ages, levels of education, states, and ideas. They are of a special kind. They are the soldiers that every army of light wants to have in its ranks. They are the parent that every child wants to have, and the children that every parent dreams of having. They are beings above the average of their societies. They are the essence of the people who have, well, built all cultures and conquered horizons. They are there, next to you. They look normal, but they are superheroes. They did what others could not. They were the tree that withstood the hurricane of insults, discrimination, and social exclusion. And they did it because they thought they were alone. And they believed that, well, they were the only ones. Banned from their families' tables at Christmas, they never saw anything so cruel. They lost their jobs, let their careers sink, had no more money, but they didn't care. They suffered immeasurable discrimination, denunciation, betrayal, and humiliation, but they kept on going. Never before in humanity has there been such a casting. Now, we all know who are the best on the planet Earth. Men, women, young, old, rich, poor, of all races or religions, the the chosen of the invisible ark, the only ones who managed to resist when everything collapsed. That's you. You passed an unimaginable test that many of the toughest Marines, commandos, Green Berets, astronauts, and even geniuses could not withstand. You are made of the stuff of the greatest who ever lived. Those heroes born among ordinary men who glow in the dark. Remember, you're the voice, and it's time to make it count.
I feel like I've gotten closer with the being on the other side. Humanity remaining hopeful, even though they're spraying up the sky. Humanity remaining hopeful, even though they're spraying up the sky. Wanna follow through your chemicals, calcifying through ice. Vaccines are so magical, with graphene oxide, parasites and nanobots. I think they kill like a killer. Humanity remaining hopeful, even though they're spraying up the sky. Wanna follow through your chemicals, calcifying through ice. Vaccines are so magical, with graphene oxide, parasites and nanobots. I think they kill like a killer. I feel like I've gotten closer with the being on the other side. Humanity remaining hopeful, even though they're spraying up the sky. I feel like I've gotten closer with the being on the other side. Humanity remaining hopeful, even though they're spraying up the sky. Wanna follow through your chemicals, calcifying through ice. Vaccines are so magical, with graphene oxide, parasites and nanobots. I think they kill like a killer. I feel like I've gotten closer with the being on the other side. Humanity remaining hopeful, even though they're spraying up the sky. Wanna follow through your chemicals, calcifying through ice. Vaccines are so magical, with graphene oxide, parasites and nanobots. I think they kill like a killer.
Yeah. Are you tired of being lied to? Are you tired of being manipulated? Are you tired? Do you want your freedom back? Or are you worried a bit about what people think about you? Amish space station! A lot of our kids wanna kill themselves. Bill Gates, they don't need your help. The new normal's a prison cell, and your jab won't go over well.
Things like producing child to death and just shoot them right into the vein.
Hold on. First off, Bill Gates. Viruses are dead cell debris, and you telling me it ain't a felony to perform experiments on humanity? Hold on. Let me back up. I don't talk big or even act tough. If you ain't heard about the flat earth or the resistance, that's us. Neil Tyson, I don't like him, always lying. Pseudoscience, now they claim helicopters flying somewhere on a Martian island. What? Don't you just love NASA? Astronauts in swimming pools splashing. They get a huge bucket of cash, and we gotta survive on only rations. Sorry, lost my composure. Tends to happen when I start exposing. Fields of passion just start exploding like the Challenger, but they're alive and going. NASA, what a moon mission tapes. Oh, you threw them all away? Getting 8K from Mars, but 5G towers are 1,000 feet away? Killing trolls every day. We are not out in space. We are not on a spinning ball as shown by Eric Dubé. And if you ain't on that level, better get up out my way. When you break up out that matrix, the truth is on display. If Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, that means any horizon distance measurement is currently on trial and can be no more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's why the black swan killed the globe. And here's how we know, cause the horizon is beyond 9 miles from 1 foot, you clown shows. Glovers, annihilate them. Space is the second law violation of thermodynamics while you're waiting. Research entropy and educate them. Oh, and Newton's gravity was changed by Einstein. You'll be mad at me. Look up his theory of relativity, and then you realize the globe's your enemy. Shout out to the Freedom Alliance. Killing trolls every day. We are not out in space. We are not on a spinning ball as shown by Eric Dubé. And if you ain't on that level, better get up out my way. When you break up out that matrix, the truth is on display. It's on display. Truth is on display. The truth is on display. Earth is flat, give me my mind back now. Earth is flat, Earth is flat. Earth is flat, give me my mind back now. Earth is flat, give me my mind back. Earth is flat, Earth is flat. Earth is flat, give me my mind back.
Hello, listener support group. My name is Mino. How can I help you?
Forgive me, Minnow, I need 5 minutes just a break from all these politicians. And I'm sick and twisted adolescents, always reading on, I gotta bless them. And I think they got the wrong impression, but I'm sick and tired of second guessing. Holy Bible with the Smith & Wesson, I don't really need a scripture lesson. See, it's going on a different level. Puppeteer, Pinocchio, Geppetto. I don't really think I need a medal. Hell on earth, but I don't see the devil. Government is always picking wars. I wonder what we're even living for. It's crowded right outside of heaven's door. They open it, then you should hit the floor. If they don't respond, you give them 4. Screws loose, but you're missing yours. Watching history repeat itself. This is probably the way Jesus felt. And they claim to change the season, melts the Arctic, and I think they need some help. Record the day the price of freedom fell. Water shortage, dig a deeper well. Keep going, soon you're reaching hell. Pollute the earth until I see the smell. I could rant, kick, scream, and yell. Soon we gon' need a demon's help.
Need a break, need a break, need a break, need a break.
I understand, Hamish, but you must remember these hallucinations aren't real, okay? There are treatments for that. You are not alone.
All due respect, you're really scaring me, and I don't think I want your therapy. The problem is you're going merrily to your demise, so taking care of me is off the table. You're not able, think that earth is spinning, you're not stable. Probably staying home with too much cable. FaceTime instead of reading labels, you should watch your medals, that's important. Rose petals and pro-abortion, our reality has been distorted. Devil wants my soul but can't afford it. America, what happened to your morals? Oh, I remember, probably Soros. Rockefellers hold the gates for us, and they said they'll keep it safe for us, helping get us through this pandemic. Your fire's beautiful and incandescent. Could teach them fools a damn lesson, but now I got too much aggression. However, I don't think I'm letting up. Same for them, the plan their settings up to starve us out and change the weather up. Still beginning, but it's getting rough. Keep going, soon you're reaching hell. Pollute the earth until I see the smell. I could rant, kick, scream, and yell. Soon we gon' need a detail.
Need a break, need a break, need a break, I need a break.
Hamish, this is for serious calls only, and we will recommend you professional help. We love you, but please don't call us back. Have a great day.
States went to the moon just for fun. In North Korea, landed on the sun. I said, ooh, look what you've done. What you done? Richard Nixon, telephone the moon. So why don't you trust Kim Jong-un? I said, ooh. What you done? Oh, yeah. I said, ooh, look what you done. United States went to the moon just for fun. North Korea landed on the sun. I said, ooh, look what you done. I said, ooh, what you've done. I said, look what you've done. I said, look what you've done. Rockets and so do the babes. So rich guys making rocket hearts, putting caught up in space. Rich guys like rockets and so do the babes. So rich guys making rocket hearts, make you think that you got spare eyes, yeah, eyes, they got spare eyes. They got spare eyes, yeah, eyes. Guys like rockets and so do the babes. So rich guys making rocket hearts, put a car up in space. Rich guys like rockets and so do the lanes. So rich guys making rocket hearts just to get laid, yeah, just to get laid, just to get laid, guys like rockets and so do the babes. So rich guys making rocket hearts, make you think they got. Rich guys like rockets and so do the lanes. Rich guys making rocket hearts. You gotta pay, yeah, you gotta pay. You gotta pay, yeah, you gotta pay. Guys like rockets and so the babes. So rich guys making rocket hearts, put a car up in space. Rich guys like rockets and so the babes. So rich guys making rocket hearts just to get laid, just to get laid. Guys like rockets and so do the babes. So rich guys making rocket hearts, put a car up in space. Rich guys like rockets and so do the lanes. So rich guys making rocket hearts want you to think they go to spare eyes, yeah, they go to spare eyes, yeah, they go to spare eyes, yeah, they go to spare eyes. Guys like rockets and so do the babes. So rich guys making rocket hearts, put a car up in space. Rich guys like rockets and so do the lanes. So rich guys making rocket hearts, the poor returns just to get laid, just to get laid, just to get laid.
Hey, how's it going? Hi, so you're interested in finding out what I'm doing? Yeah, so I actually have a couple questions, 3 questions to see how open-minded people are. Would you consider yourself an open-minded person? Not so much. From 1 through 10, how open-minded would you say you are? 7? Okay, that's more than average, so that's good enough, right? So I'm actually looking for open-minded people, so very easy. Let me just make sure this doesn't fly away. Very easy. This elementary level, right? So I have 2 images here. And the reason I call them images is because one of them's a photograph and one of them's a painting. So I want to see if people could tell the difference. Which one's a photograph and which one's a painting. Painting? Yeah, and you think this is a photograph. All right, so that was a trick question, actually. So they're both paintings. Yeah, so this is the oil painting, and this is a digital painting done on a computer. Yeah, right? So they look really realistic, right? So there's 2 reasons why I asked this question. The first reason is just believing someone opens the door to being deceived, right? Because you believe me that one of them was a photograph that influenced your choice, right? So the second reason, is that if you want to determine something is real, an image is not good enough. Because if I was to show you an image or a photograph of an elephant flying, would you believe elephants can fly? No, right? Because that defies physics, right? If an image defies physics, then the image has to be thrown away, right? So this next one's actually elementary physics. So even easier. These are super easy, you know? So it actually has to do with water. Water, like the fountain here. Like, could we say that water always seeks the lowest point, like the bottom of the container, and always fills it from the bottom to the top? Because I could change the orientation of the bottle, right? But the water's always from the bottom to the top, and the surface always levels out, right? Have you ever heard of the term water level? Yeah, right? That's why they use a water level in construction, right? Because the surface always finds its level, right? So since we understand, you know, water has only one orientation, right? Which ones of these 2 is correct? So one of these is actually upside down, and one is right side up. So which one of these images is right side up? Upside down? Oh, you got it. That was good. That was really good. So obviously water shows us that, right? So very easy. You already got one. This last one is even easier. So what will be your definition of level? Like a simple definition of level. No, like let's say in construction, if you want to build a surface that's level, how will we describe that surface? Could we say flat or horizontal, straight? Right, a level surface? Straight, right? Right. So even easier. Since we understand what level means and the physics of water, which ones of these 2 is correct, A or B? Which one's correct, A or B, when it comes to water level? Elementary physics. Look at the water. A, right? Got it. Yeah, that's it. So the real reason I do this is because over 95% of the population believe the answer is B, even though we know it's A. So in other words, we've been tricked. You want to know how? Do you believe the Earth is a ball? Right? So NASA, in specific, they tell us that they have satellites orbiting the Earth, right? So they technically need to know the radius of orbit. So they have to know the radius of the Earth if they're supposedly going around it. So they actually tell us that the radius of the Earth is 3,959 miles, which gives us a circumference of right under 20. Yeah. So 25,000 miles in circumference is the size of the Earth that they tell us, which means there has to be curvature at every mile. So if we actually went out in nature and actually went to go measure this curvature like a lake, so if a lake was more than 3 miles across and we build a perfectly level structure over it, we should be able to measure that water bending or curving, right? Because supposedly we live on a sphere. But in reality, if we understand physics, water always finds its level, and it only has one orientation, always, right? So if I was to ask you, what's the number one proof that convinces you that the Earth is a globe, or that makes you believe, you know, that the Earth is a globe? What? I'm sorry? God? Oh, okay. So it's subjective. You know this place was created, basically. Yeah, it actually leads me, one of the reasons why I do this too is because I used to be atheist, because I believed in the Big Bang Theory, I believed in evolution, I believed in all that. So this basically debunks all that. Basically, in reality, nobody actually knows what this place actually is and how it came to be, but it cannot be denied that it was created somehow. That's 100% a fact. But all religions are wrong, in my opinion. Why? Because nobody actually knows. So nobody actually knows. Nobody. So any religion claiming to know that they know what this place is just lying, basically. And the heliocentric model, the ball Earth, is just another religion. Have you heard of this topic before? Like people that don't believe in the globe? Or have you? How long?
Man, years ago, I was like, what?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's actually being censored. So I came across this in 2016, and it's actually being censored since like 2019. So the way they're censoring it is, if there's someone like me on the internet talking about it like this, showing physics, you know, and talking to people, if you try to search like a topic about this, I will never come up, you know, or someone like me will never come up. You'll just get basically controlled opposition. Basically people just ridiculing it and just dismissing it, you know. Another quick one before you go, you know the horizon, right? The horizon, how would you describe the horizon? Because these are images of the horizon. Could we say it's horizontal? Yeah, these are all images of the horizon, but in all of them, it's horizontal. It's a straight line. So in other words, the only way anybody has ever seen curvature is through a GoPro camera. Have you ever seen GoPro cameras, how they curve horizon? Yeah, so that's the only way people have ever seen the curvature of the Earth is through a GoPro or through CGI images or video. In other words, it doesn't exist. It only exists as a cartoon and in people's imaginations, basically. So is this something that you will be interested in looking into? I have some information that...
I'm gonna go to see, I gotta go.
Yeah. Do you want to take some information home? Sure, yeah. Let me give you some information and then maybe you could look into this. Yeah. Thanks for stopping, by the way. Yeah. You have a great day. Yeah.
Take care.
Yeah, you too. Have a good one. So I'm actually asking the public 3 very easy questions to see how open-minded people are. Would you consider yourself open-minded? Yeah? From 1 through 10, how open-minded would you say you are?
Probably a 7.
7? Okay. That's more than average, so that's good. So actually, the first one's
thinking outside of the box?
Yeah, type of thing. Yeah, there you go. So the first one's a perception test, and then the following 2 is elementary level. So they only get easier as they go. So yeah, so I have 2 images here, and the reason I call them images is because one of them's a photograph and one of them's a painting. So I want to see if people could tell the difference. Which one's a painting and which one's a photograph.
I'm trying to look at the details.
Yeah. If you can't, you know, you could just guess too. If you can't tell, you know.
Sorry, I'm very. You have to have patience.
Yeah, no worries.
It's the painting.
You think it's a painting? Yeah. Okay, so it was actually a trick question. They're both paintings.
Okay.
Yeah, so this one's an oil painting and this is a digital painting done on a computer. So that's why this one kind of looks a little bit more realistic, maybe, you know. But there's 2 reasons why I asked this question. I don't expect people to get this one, by the way. But there's 2 reasons I asked. Just believing someone. The first reason is just believing someone opens the door to being deceived, right? Because you believe me, one of them's a photograph. You know, that influenced your choice, right?
So it's like you could just ask, like, what if they're both.
Yeah, exactly. So the second reason is if we want to determine something is real, an image is not good enough, right? Because if I showed you an image of a flying elephant, would you believe elephants could fly? No, I mean, an elephant's too heavy. But even then, it's a cartoon, you know, it defies physics. And if an image defies physics, you know, it's safe to say we could throw that image away and go with physics, you know, because physics is demonstrable, right? It's reality.
Well,
Physics.
I mean, unless you put an elephant into space.
No. We're talking about we're talking about just on Earth flying. You know what I'm saying? That defies physics, right? Obviously. So the next one's elementary physics. So it actually has to do with water. So could we say that water always seeks its lowest point? In other words, the bottom of the container, and always, you know, takes the shape of the container, and the surface always equalizes, right? Or evens out, could we say? It always levels out the water. Like the pool, when you fill up your pool, could we say the surface of that pool is level? Right? How would you describe the surface of a pool, if I was to ask you?
The surface of the pool?
Yeah, once it's filled and once it's steady, once it's not moving, how would you describe the surface of the pool, of the water, basically? Level, right? Could we say it's horizontal, right? That would be the proper term. That's the definition of level, right? Right? So, and another thing is water only has one orientation, which is level. That's why it always levels out. You know, have you ever seen a leveling tool in construction with a bubble?
A what?
A leveling tool with a bubble. You never seen that in construction?
Yes.
Yeah, right? That's how you level
yeah.
pictures in your wall, make sure they're
Yeah.
straight, right? That's the reason it has water in there, because water always... So, very easy. These are super easy. So, one of these is in the correct orientation and one is upside down. Which one is in the correct orientation and which one's upside down?
Is this another trick question?
Go with your common sense. Water always seeks its lowest point and fills a container from the bottom to the top. So which one is in the correct orientation?
Which one's upside down?
And which one's upside down?
Well,
One is upside down and one is correct orientation. Look at the water. Water will be our point of
now
reference.
that the bottom of it is both red.
That's how I make it a little tricky. Even that, it'll be too easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you had to pick, which one is correct? The water will be our reference point. Look at the water. I painted the water blue to make it easier.
But I'm not looking at the water.
You-
anymore.
that's-
I'm looking at the surroundings.
But water's just gonna show us what the image is.
Okay.
Water's gonna show us which one's upside down. It's very easy. You're overthinking
I'm
it.
overthinking
Yeah,
it,
you're
yeah.
overthinking it. Take a guess if you need
because
to.
you tricked me on the last
Yeah,
one,
I know.
so,
I
like, now
understand.
I'm overthinking
No,
everything.
it's very simple. If you had to pick, which one's correct in the correct orientation,
Okay, so the question is, which one is upside down?
or which one is upside down, either or. Which one's upside down?
Well, the reflection of the bottle.
The reflection's not gonna. I'm telling you, the water's just gonna show you. Look at the
Okay,
water.
so the water.
The water's just
Well,
gonna show you which
you're
one's
talking about
upside
if
down.
It's filled, and I'm guessing probably.
When you fill up your water bottle, where does the water go? To the bottom, right?
I'm not getting it.
When you
Hold
fill,
on, look.
water always goes to the bottom of the container. Water will never stick to the top, will it? You think water can stick to the top? No, water always goes to the bottom, right?
Yeah, but you're saying one is upside down.
Okay, I'm gonna tell
but
you.
This
This one's upside down.
one's upside
Yeah,
down.
I took this image upside down like this. Because look, now the water is in the same orientation as this one.
Okay, yeah, you took it upside down. That's
Yeah,
fine.
so it was very easy, but you kind of overthought it there. But
Yeah,
okay, this next
I'm a
one,
big overthinker,
it's
so
it's
that's
okay.
why I
Okay,
always think
this next one, easy. Don't overthink it, and you'll get it. I guarantee you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just go with whatever my first thought is.
Kind of, yeah. So again, we understand the definition of level, right? And how water behaves. Which one's correct, A or B? When it comes to water level, look at the water again. Very easy.
Hey,
Hey, it's the obvious answer, right?
yeah. I wasn't even looking at the water. I was
Could
like,
yeah.
I was not even looking at the water. I was looking at the
Yeah, the water. Okay, could we say that someone that believes the answer is B, could we say that maybe they're not using common sense? I'm not saying they don't have common sense, but maybe they're not using common sense, right? If they believe this is the correct answer?
So depending on what the water is on.
No, let's say it's in like a giant pool. It's contained,
And the
basically.
ground is flat.
Yeah, in the ground, yeah.
And the water's just going
Yeah.
like that. Something's definitely wrong with the level.
Yeah, because a lake, for example, if you've ever been to a lake,
Yeah.
the surface of the the surface of the lake when it freezes is literally horizontal. People literally ice skate on frozen lakes. I don't know if you knew that, but point
Well,
being,
I don't know if our lakes freeze in Tennessee.
yeah, but the real reason I do this is because over 95% of the population believe this is the answer, even though we know it's A, right? It's obvious. And the real reason is because we were actually being tricked. And you want to know how we were tricked? And I think you kind of already hinted at it. So do you believe the Earth is a ball? Right?
I mean, I don't think it's flat.
Okay. I didn't ask that, but do you believe it's a sphere though in outer space, or are you like in the middle? You don't know.
Well, I've always thought, okay, so how is it that if we're flying, we're going around? You know?
Right. That doesn't make sense. How an airplane flies level,
Well,
right?
it's because of the magnetic level of the gravity.
Well, they're saying that's what they say. So very quick about gravity, because I know a lot of people, especially younger people, you know, gravity is the #1 proof, right? But I don't know if you knew. Did you know gravity is a theory?
Everything's a theory.
Well, water being level, you know, is used in construction, you know, and basically, hey, how's it going? So it's the #1 tool basically for measuring horizontal, you know. Is there a problem?
No, I'm just control it. You can't really have a sign like this right now.
Well, it's a question.
I know it's a question, but you can't really have like, you know.
This is a public sidewalk. That's a public street.
I know, but it's bothering the customer.
No, it's not. No, it's actually, this is actually legal. You know, if you want to let your supervisor know, if somebody told you to come and check up on me, you could ask them. And this is legal. This is just a question.
I know, but
I'm not selling anything. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, if nobody told you to...
I just have to keep it, you know, just keep everything safe.
Oh, I understand that. Yeah, but trust me, this is not illegal. Trust me.
I understand.
Okay.
I know it's not illegal. I know it's just, you know.
Yeah, okay.
There's just a lot going on around here. And,
right.
You know, we just like to keep everybody safe.
Yeah, trust me. I have no ill intent. I have no, you know, I'm here peacefully just trying to talk to people, literally.
Yeah, no,
That's it.
I understand.
Okay.
I just have to see what's, you know.
Okay, I understand. I understand. All right, no worries, man.
Have a good day,
All right, man, you too. I appreciate it. All right, all right. So, just, you know, real quick, NASA, right? They claim to orbit the Earth, right, with satellites. Yeah. So they technically need to know the radius of the Earth because they technically need to know the radius of orbit, right? If they're supposedly, you know, have satellites out there. So they actually do tell us the radius of the Earth. So they tell us that the radius is 3,959 miles. And basically that gives us a circumference of 24,901 miles, which means there has to be curvature at every mile. So the first mile, there should be an 8-inch drop. Second mile, 32 inches. Third mile, 6 feet. So every mile it increases, and the reason why is because they're not telling us the Earth is a pyramid. They're telling us the Earth is a sphere. So that slope is not a slope, it's a curve. So every mile it just needs to curve more and more and more. So by the 10th mile, there should be a 66-foot drop. So that's like 6 stories. That's pretty, that should be measurable in my point. In reality, if we had a lake that was 10 miles across, that curvature wouldn't be there. So in other words, the oceans are also level. Have you heard of the term sea level? You know how they measure height and depth?
Weird. How the oceans, you know, okay,
so
yeah, the Earth is round, right?
That's what they tell us,
but
right?
when you look far out into the ocean, it looks like it's going higher, but then again, it's also, you know, like...
So that's another thing. The reason why it looks like it goes higher is because when you elevate, it does that again. It looks like it goes higher, right? Yeah. And that's just our limit of perspective. The horizon is our limit of our eyesight. Yeah. So what happens when we increase our altitude, our angle of view also increases. So we are able to see further in front of us, not below us.
Yeah, like whenever you're going down to the beach or something, there's like this road that you're going down, and whenever you're like high up in altitude, and so whenever you look at the ocean, it looks like it's going up.
It's going up, right?
Yeah.
That's a matter of perspective. That's why it looks like, if you look, right now you can't really see the clouds, but at the ocean, or whenever you can see the horizon, the clouds look like they're going down. Yeah. Like they're going over the horizon. But again, if those clouds are the same altitude as these clouds, you know what I'm saying? It's just a matter of perspective. It's our limit of our view. We kind of have pyramid view in a way, like spherical vision.
It's like trippy, like, you know, because whenever the sun goes down for us,
it's
coming up for someone else.
Exactly, but in other words, in my opinion, the sun, let me just show you some quick images. The sun is actually very localized and small. So these are images of corpuscular rays. In other words, if you triangulate these rays, it can actually show the position of the sun, and it shows people have actually triangulated the distance to the sun, and it is an estimate that it's only about 30 miles in diameter and about 300 to 3,000 miles in the sky. So it's a very tiny sun. And then in this image here, taken with a high altitude balloon, you can see a sunspot right underneath the sun, telling you that it's like right there, like a spotlight kind of. So the sun is not what we were told. In reality, nobody really knows what the sun is, but we can measure and make observations that it's a small local sun, and it's just like a torch beam or like a...
Have you ever watched the show Doctor Who?
Doctor Who? No.
It's on HBO Max. You
definitely
need to watch it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really like... You need to watch it.
Yeah.
I recommend it.
No, real quick before the security came, I was talking about gravity, right? Do you know who Neil deGrasse Tyson is?
Who?
Neil deGrasse Tyson. Neil deGrasse Tyson, you don't know who he is? A famous astrophysicist? Okay, you could probably look him up after, but I have a clip here, and they ask him what gravity is. And again, he's the most famous astrophysicist out there, and this was his response. If you want to listen to it.
What is gravity?
I have no idea. Okay, next question.
I have no idea.
Wow. Here's the difference. We can describe gravity. We can say what it does to other things. We can measure it, predict with it. But when you start asking, like, what it is, I don't know.
So what he's talking about when they can measure with it and predict with it, what they measure is the rate in which things drop. So have you ever heard of 9.8 meters per second? That's the rate in which things drop. So when you let something go, they measure the speed or the rate in which things drop. But they're measuring the effect of why things fall, not the cause of what made it fall. Does that make sense? So in other words, nobody really knows 100% why things fall. So gravity is something that was like pushed in the mainstream since we were little, in cartoons and everywhere, just so we adopt it, because that's like the one thing that holds the whole globe Earth model together. Because that's how they explain planetoids forming in space. That's how they explain orbital mechanics. That's how they explain water curving around a globe. But it's all just theories based on another theory of gravity. Yeah. So that's why it's pushed so much. But in reality, nobody knows why things drop. And another thing about that is that it's completely irrelevant when it comes to measuring curvature. It has nothing to do with it. You know, so damn, it looks like. Yeah, let's see what they say. I mean, do you have any questions?
No, actually.
Yeah. Do you want to take some information home? I mean, because it is being censored. If you try to go and search this up, you're gonna get nothing but like ridicule information. People just dismissing it. All these pseudoscientists, I call them pseudoscientists, but all these mainstream scientists are just gonna like talk shit about it and dismiss it. You know.
So I really wish my boyfriend's dad was here.
I wish so
He's a
too.
doctor in science.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so that's what I live with right now here.
Oh,
so
maybe
like,
you could show them the information I gave you.
Yeah.
Because I actually just went to a university in my last video, to California State University in San Bernardino, and actually had a pretty good conversations there with the students. So,
yeah,
so yeah.
He was a professor at a college. I don't remember what college it was, but yeah, he went to college and everything, and he graduated. And he's a doctor in science and everything.
That's
It's
good.
really cool, yeah.
Oh yeah, I would really like to speak to someone like that.
Oh yeah, you would be awesome.
Yeah. So here, you could take this home and look into it. Maybe show it to them. If you'd like, and thanks for stopping.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Good luck.
All right. Yeah. Thanks.
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah. I'm sorry?
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How's it going?
Can I ask you what your business is for this private property?
Oh, I'm actually just recording a story here. I'm just filming, having a conversation with people. That's
Unfortunately,
it.
it's private property, brother.
Are you? Is it okay? But are you guys open to the public?
It's open to the public for business only.
Yeah, actually, they conduct business, and I'm actually gonna conduct business when I'm done here.
Right, but you're still doing something for pleasure, like
It's not for pleasure.
Doing your,
I'm actually doing a story.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, I'm actually filming out in public, and this I'm doing a story. Yeah.
public would be considered like city sidewalk.
Isn't this a street? Isn't this a street right
I don't
here?
know if you would get a chance to read all the signage that's posted at every single entrance of this private property and what this property is considered for the public.
Exactly.
It is open to the public for business, not to do documentaries.
Why do they have chairs here to lounge?
Because they provide lounging for their paying customers.
Yeah, I'm a paying customer as well.
But not permission to record the public on this private
Actually,
property.
I do have permission to record in public. That's why I'm doing it.
But who did you get permission from, if you don't mind me
Yeah,
asking?
I got permission from the United States Constitution. It's a First Amendment protected activity. Just like I have the right to speak, I also have the right to record.
Of course you do.
Yeah,
You
so it's.
understand that you're on private also property.
Well, first of all, it's a public street, and anything.
No, this is not a public street. This was constructed by a private.
Okay, even if it was, it's still open to the public.
For
And I'm
business.
I'm a customer as well. Like I said, I'm gonna buy a pizza before I leave.
Well, we also have the right to refuse business to.
That would be discrimination at that point. If you refuse
wouldn't
business,
be,
what would be the reason why you're denying me business?
Because you're conducting something else besides conducting business here, like you're
Yeah, like
recording the
speaking,
public.
recording. I'm literally just speaking and recording. That's a First Amendment protected activity.
Well, I'm not here
It's
to
a right.
argue. I'm not here to argue.
Look,
You understand? You know your.
Yeah,
your
I know my rights.
citizen
Yeah, I know my rights.
But at this time, we're gonna ask you to please.
I'm gonna politely refuse because I know I have the right to be here because it's a public.
So not to get
Yeah.
under your skin or
Yeah.
be disrespectful
Yeah.
in any way, but at this time, I'm gonna be.
Oh yeah, definitely. It just says, "Are you honest and open-minded?" Just trying to have a conversation with people, and I'm basically getting kicked out of a public place for doing so.
Sucks, man.
Doesn't make any sense, but we'll see what they do.
Wait, is this public?
That's what I said. That's literally what I said. This is not, but it's open to the public though, and you can't kick me out for speaking to people. That's a First Amendment protected activity.
I can't make you.
Are you honest and open-minded? I'm just trying to have a conversation.
What does it say?
Is are you honest and open-minded?
Yeah.
Oh.
He basically just talking about science. I was literally here for like 10 minutes.
Yes, it's a conversation about science, physics. You know.
That's a nice camera.
Oh, thank you.
What is that?
It's a DJI action camera. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, like I said,
You should record this interaction.
you're in public. There's cameras all over all over this plaza. I don't need your permission.
Expectation of privacy in public.
My
There's no
legal right.
expectation of public.
My legal right. I don't feel
It is
safe
no
in
legal
public.
right.
Yeah, I don't feel safe in public.
Keep on walking.
Yeah, you're harassing me.
Way out of line
Keep on walking then.
with his positions, and honestly,
Yeah, I'm being harassed right now. I didn't go up
Yeah,
to nobody.
totally, dude.
Nobody's.
Totally.
I didn't go up to nobody. People are coming up to me.
Record this whole thing.
Oh yeah,
bro.
I am.
Make sure.
You want to take some info home?
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You could check out what I do.
He doesn't need it. You're in public.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, man.
There's no expectation of privacy in public. You
Yeah.
should learn the law if you're going to try to enforce the law.
Learn the law, man.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, bro, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man.
Stand
Thank
your
you,
ground,
man.
bro.
Thank you,
Stand
man.
your
Oh,
ground
that's why I'm
because
out here,
not
man.
right. Yeah, absolutely, bro.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for the support. Yeah, man. Thank you. All right. So, how open-minded would you guys say you are from 1 through 10?
7.
7. Okay.
8.
8. Okay. That's pretty good. That's pretty high. So, actually, have 3 very easy questions to see how open-minded you actually are. And
on YouTube?
oh, I actually do have a channel. So you guys could check it out later if you guys want to. Yeah. So this first question is actually a perception test. So I have 2 images here, and the reason I call them images is because one of them's a photograph and the other one's a painting. So I want to see if people could tell the difference, which one's a photograph and which one's a painting.
This one's a painting?
Okay, and which one do you think is a photograph? And which one's
Same, that's the painting, this is the photograph.
Okay, all right, cool. So it was actually a trick question. They're both paintings.
Oh, that.
Yeah, right. So I actually don't expect people to get this one, but there is 2 reasons why I asked this question. The first reason is just believing someone opens the door to being deceived, right? Because you believing that one's a photograph, that influenced your choice, right? That's obvious, right? The second reason is if we want to determine something is real, an image is not good enough. Because if I showed you an image of an elephant flying, will you believe elephants could fly? No, right? Because that defies physics. If an image defies physics, we got to throw that image away and go with physics, because physics is, was reality, basically, So this next one actually has to do with physics, elementary physics. So could we say that water always seeks its lowest point? In other words, the bottom, and always fills a container from the bottom to the top, right? And the surface always levels out, right? Because I could change the orientation of the bottle, but the orientation of the water remains the same, right? It remains level, and it always fills a container from the bottom to the top, right? So since we understand that simple fact about water, I have 2 images here again, but again, I can't lie to you because it's physics. One of these images is upside down and one is right side up. So which one is upside down out of these 2? And which one is in this one? Okay, which one do you think is upside down?
Both are upside down.
You think they're both upside down? Look at the water, because the water's going to show us.
I was kidding.
No.
What is upside down?
Which image is upside down and which one is in the correct orientation? Don't overthink it. It's super easy. It's elementary. Elementary. There you go. No, you got it. And you got it the first time too. Yeah. No, that's obvious. We got to trust our common sense, when it comes to physics, because, but yeah, this one's upside down because of the water, right?
I thought that was a trick question.
No. That was just the first one. But again, so this last one is even easier. Again, you don't have to believe me. We just have to understand the physics of water. Real quick, how will we describe the surface of water? Like once it's level, right? What would be your definition of level? Like the surface of the pool? How would we describe the surface of a pool? Once, Geometrically, like how would we describe the surface of the pool? Right? Horizontal? That'll be the proper definition for level. There you go. So out of these 2, even easier. This is the easiest one out of all of them. Which one's correct? A or B when it comes to the physics of water and what level means? We got both, and which one's correct? A or B?
B.
You think that's what level means?
No, this one is level. I feel like it's a trick question.
Okay, no, it's obvious. I'm not trying to trick you. It's an obvious answer, right? Hey, so the real reason I do this is because over 95% of the population actually have been tricked to believing the answer was B, even though we know it's A. You want to know how we were tricked?
Why?
Do you guys believe the Earth is a ball?
I feel like it's round.
Right, a sphere. That's what they told us, right? So NASA, in specific, they supposedly have satellites in space, right, orbiting the Earth. So they technically need to know the radius of orbit. So they need to know the radius of the Earth if they're supposedly going around it, right? So they actually do tell us that the radius of the Earth is 3,901 miles, which gives us a circumference around of 24,901 miles, which means there needs to be curvature at every mile. So in the first mile, there should be an 8-inch drop. Second mile, 32 inches. And by the third mile, there should be a 6-foot measurable dip. So by the 10th mile, there should be 66 feet. So if we had a lake that was 10 miles across and we build a level structure over it, like perfectly level, there should be 66 feet of drop on that lake from the level, like this basically. But 66 feet will be like a 6-story building. That curvature won't be there though if we actually went, because the physics of water shows us that. Now, if I was to ask you guys, what's the #1 proof or thing that makes you believe that the Earth is a globe?
The moon.
The moon, okay.
How it turns into like.
So you think that like the phases of the moon?
Yeah.
Basically, what will be the number one proof for you?
That the Earth is round.
Yeah, that the Earth is round. That makes you believe that the Earth is round.
I don't know. Just looking at the Earth, it's round.
Like we're looking at the Earth in the TV screen. Okay, so image video and images from. Okay, so again we go back to images. If an image defies physics, you know, the images are showing us from space of the globe Earth basically defies physics, the physics of water, right? So, and then you're saying about the phases of the moon, right? So anything that has to do with the sun, the moon, and the stars, which I just call them lights in the sky, all of them, nobody actually knows what they are. And the reason why in the mainstream or on you know, you'll hear about, about these things about the sun. Well, if the sun is round, how come the Earth, you know, it's not round, right? And I would say that's a false argument. It's a distraction because that has nothing to do with actually physically measuring the Earth for curvature. Because if the Earth is truly a globe, then we should be able to measure it physically. But everybody on the mainstream, the news, you know, it's gonna basically deny and not even talk about this experiment, you know, basically. So they're avoiding it. So it's actually being censored online, this information. So that's one of the main reasons why I'm out here speaking to people, because it's literally, if you go online on Google, YouTube, and try to type in, you know, flat Earth or global eye, you're gonna get nothing but ridicule. And anybody legitimate talking about it, you're not even gonna come across. They're gonna be pushed all the way to the bottom. And who really looks at the bottom of the page, you know, like the 10th page?
Like the Earth is flat.
Well, I don't feel like it is. Reality shows me that. Physics shows me that, the water. So I don't go with what people say because people can lie. Physics doesn't lie. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you know what I'm saying? So that's, you know, do you think, no, I'm glad, you know, you guys actually came and talked to me, you know. Do you guys have any questions, I mean, that you might have? Anything, you know?
So what do you think? Is the Earth round?
No, so in reality, the Earth is demonstrably and measurably level. So what that means is that it's not flat because there's obviously mountains and valleys and canyons. So obviously it's not flat because, but water is level. In other words, so the oceans are basically being contained by the continents. And that's where I think the word continent comes from container. Because of the continents are a higher elevation than the water, keeping it in like a bowl, basically. So, but how far does the land go? Mystery. Nobody really knows how far the Earth extends. So that's another reason why I'm out here. Cause
how do you explain like the sunset?
Okay, I like that.
How do you explain that?
Yeah, actually, yeah. So they tell us, so nobody really knows what the sun, moon, and actually are, but the sun is actually very close and very small. So these are images of the sun rays through clouds, and these are called corpuscular rays. And basically what this shows us, if we triangulate the light of the rays, it tells us, people have gotten an estimate that the sun is only about 30 miles in diameter and only about 300 to 3,000 miles in the sky. So it's a very small sun. So basically it's not that high, so it can only illuminate so much of the Earth. So again, this is not what the Earth looks like, but I like to use this just for, you know, so people could have something to visualize. So imagine the sun was like as tiny as the line on this paper, right? And it was very close to the ground. It could only illuminate so much. So what the sun does, it basically rotates, and it basically goes inside, closer to the center when it's our summer, and when it's winter, it goes to the outer. And that's why Australia has their summer opposite to us, because when it's doing a bigger circuit, it's hitting Australia, not us. And when we have the sun, they don't have the sun. So that's why there's opposite seasons between the north and the south, because the sun is just moving in and out. You know what I'm saying?
What about...
And again, the sun looks like it sets because it just goes out of our sight. Again, it's very small. So like for example, if a light pole, if you see a long street of light poles, it looks like they're going down.
Wait, another question.
But yeah.
How do you explain how it's like morning over here and then it's nighttime?
Yeah, it goes because of that, because the light doesn't reach. If we're, America's right here, we're right here. So we have the sun almost at, well, a little bit past noon, right? So it won't be right above us, it'll be past noon over here. So when the sun gets over here and they have daytime, then we have our nighttime. Does that make sense? So when the sun comes back around, they have nighttime and now we have daytime. So wherever the sun goes is where it's daytime. And when it's right above you, it's 12 o'clock.
So the sun just like revolves
It's
around
like a
the
clock.
sun.
It's just around the center point, around the North Pole.
So the yellow one?
All three of these. So this is the sun's path in our summer, This is the sun's path in our winter. That's why it looks like in winter the sun declines in the horizon when it goes around. It's lower on the horizon. But right now, because we're right past summer, it's still kind of high in the horizon because it's closer to us, basically.
So you believe the Earth is round?
No. The Earth is level, 100%. We've been lied to, basically, and that's why I'm out here trying to spread this information.
About
And
aliens, do you believe?
that's the thing. Outer space, all of that is just a story. So like a religion. So outer space is just a concept. So basically, all the scientists, all this, basically astrophysicists, all they come up with is just stories. Basically, they call them theories, though, and then people buy into them like they're real. But it's just another religion. Anybody telling you what the sky is just a religion. You know.
It was nice talking
Do you guys want to take some info? Maybe check check some of the conversations I have. I do go to universities as well. You guys could check those out. Here. I'm sorry?
What university?
I've only gone to one, but I'm gonna go to USC, UCLA. I've gone to California State University in San Bernardino. That's the first one I went to. That's actually my last video. You could check it out. And
well, I look ugly. I don't want to be
you guys will be okay. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, man. It was nice talking to you. Yeah, thank you. My name is William. William. Yeah, nice to meet you, man. All right, you guys have a good one.
Nothing against you.
Yeah.
We're gonna have our PD come and talk to you.
Okay, sure.
So we're just following protocol.
Oh, sure, yeah,
on our behalf. Nothing
trust me.
against you as a person.
I get it. No. I understand this is your job and you need to do what you need to do. I get it.
These are instructions that were given to us, for this property.
Okay.
They call it private property.
Okay.
But I know we're just doing your thing.
Yeah.
No matter for what you do.
Oh, no, I understand. No
What
worries.
you do is just, I gotta follow up within my jurisdiction of the little property that we patrol.
Right. No worries. I understand.
I'm just gonna take a quick photo of you if you don't mind.
I'm out in public. Just like I could take a picture of you. You don't have to ask me. No, go for it. Yeah, go for it. Oh, okay. I'm glad. So would you would you consider yourself an open-minded person?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So from 1 through 10, how open-minded would you say you are?
It depends on the topic, but I would
Just
say
generally.
I'm around a 7, 8.
7, 8? Oh, perfect.
With 1 being what and 10 being what?
Well, 1 being the least open-minded, being closed-minded, and then 10 being open-minded, right? So 7, 8?
Yeah.
Would you say you're open-minded?
No.
Mom.
I'm like maybe a 6.
Okay, still above average. That's good. Okay, so we'll see how open-minded you are.
Are you open-minded, Chuck, or what?
So actually, let me see where they are. Here they are. I have 2 images here, and the reason I call them images is because one of them's a photograph and one of them's a painting. So I want to see if people could tell the difference. Which one's a photograph?
One of them's a photograph, one of them's a painting?
Yeah. One's a photograph, one's a painting.
I say Morgan Freeman's a photograph.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is a painting?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right, so it was actually a trick question. They're both paintings.
Paintings?
So, yeah, so this is an oil painting, and this is a digital painting done on an iPad. So you could actually look this one up.
Digital painting is just like
Like using an iPad, on an iPad. It was a Final Cut Pro app, I think they use it. There's a time-lapse video of this one being done, so you can find it online.
But it was printed on like a printer.
Yeah, but my point is that it's not a snapshot. It's not.
Okay.
That's my point. It's a painting. It's not a picture. Exactly.
They didn't take the picture.
Exactly. It's a painting. It's a painting. We could say, right? Perfect. Exactly. Somebody drew it. All right. So this next one. Oh, there's 2 reasons why I asked this question. I don't expect people to get this one, and the reasons are: the first reason is just believing someone opens the door to being deceived, right? Because you guys believe me that one of them to being deceived.
Yeah.
Right. That's obvious, right? And the second reason is that if we want to determine something is real, an image is not good enough. Because if I showed you a photograph of an elephant flying, would you believe elephants could fly? No, right? Because that defies physics. Especially if the image defies physics, we got to throw the image away and go with physics, right? So this next one, it's elementary physics. It has to do with water. Very easy. Could we agree that water always seeks its lowest point? It always goes to the bottom and fills the container from the bottom to the top, right? And always levels out. That's a fact, right? Because I could change, I could change the orientation of the bottle, but the orientation of the water remains the same, right? It always, perfect. You got this next one, again, these next 2 are super easy.
I would say it remains horizontal.
Horizontal, perfect. There you go. You got it. So one of these images is upside down and one is right side up. Let me see. Here we go. There we go. So which one is upside down? Oh, there you go. That was fast. Yeah, you got it. This one is upside down. And
Look at the label on the bottle.
oh, well, no, the label on the bottle is the same. The water is what shows us that it's upside. This one's upside down.
Yeah, but it's based off of the label. It's upside down because the water's closest to the label.
Oh, right. Yeah, I get you. Yeah. I thought you were talking about the label being upside down. So no. But yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. Perfect. You guys got one already. So this last one, super easy, even easier than that one, right? Where you go? Here we go. Since you understand what level means, right? And the physics of water, which one's correct? A or B? Since you know the definition of level, it's horizontal. Which one's correct? A or B? A, right? It's the obvious answer, right?
I'm thinking it's a trick question again.
Can you hold them up like this?
Yeah.
So level means that it's horizontal.
Exactly. Yeah, it's super easy, right?
So that one.
So the real reason I do this is because you thought it was a trick question, but the real reason is that we've all been tricked to believing the answer is B, even though we know it's A. You guys want to know how we were tricked? Do you guys believe the Earth is a ball?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
Right?
I've seen pictures
exactly. All right. So you guys are open to the idea.
I don't
Exactly.
want to jump to conclusions.
So NASA, NASA in specific, they claim to have satellites orbiting the Earth, right? So they need to know the radius of orbit. So technically, they need to know the radius of the Earth if they're going around it. So they need to know the size of the Earth. So they actually do tell us the size of the Earth. And
anything with the radius is spherical, though.
Exactly. So they tell us that the radius of the Earth is 3,959 miles. And using pi, if we multiply that to get the diameter, and then we multiply the diameter times pi, we get the circumference of a circle, right? 24,901 miles is what they tell us. So there needs to be curvature at every mile. So if in the first mile is 8 inches, second mile 32 inches, third mile is 6 feet. So every mile it increases because they're not telling us Earth is a pyramid. They're telling us Earth is a sphere. So it's not a slope, it should be a curve. So every mile it should be more and more and more and more. So by 10 miles, by 10 miles, there should be 66 feet of measurable curvature. So if we were actually go out to a lake that was 10 miles across and measure for this curvature of the surface of the lake, it's not gonna be there. So
you'd see a small section. And
you would. It looks like it's like a curvature, but it's just a limit of perspective.
Almost like the ocean.
Yeah. So the ocean, the reason why boats go over the horizon or looks like they go over the horizon is just they're going out of our view. So our vision has a very limited limit. So everything shrinks down to a point. Yeah, exactly. So basically, when we can't see objects anymore, they're just out of our sight, not going over the curve, right? So.
Oh yeah, I didn't think that.
Yeah.
I don't think like even if we did have like that kind of vision, we would look.
Right. Let me show you. So real quick, if we look at railroads, it looks like they're coming together, right? But we know the railroads are parallel.
Correct.
They have to be parallel, right? But that's because, again, we have spherical. So when we observe an object moving away from us, because we have spherical eyes, so this curve represents our eyeball. So when something moves just further away at the same altitude, it seems to drop in our field of view because light travels in straight lines, right?
Yeah.
So when something moves further away, it seems to drop, and only seems to drop because of perspective, because of our limit of perspective. And that's why things shrink. That's why things shrink at a distance. Exactly. So we have a limit to our perspective, and that's what we will call the horizon. So the horizon is just the limit of perspective. Because if we increase altitude, we increase the angle of view, which then increases our view, in front of us.
By getting closer.
Exactly. So, in my opinion, the physical measurement of the Earth will be the number one proof to debunk the globe. How long ago did you guys hear about people not believing in the globe? If I was to ask you,
in flat Earth.
Like flat Earth, right? Yeah. I try to stay away from that phrase because it's being ridiculed. I'm pretty sure you guys know.
I don't think I've ever come across somebody who didn't believe.
Didn't believe that the Earth was around.
Right. So am I the first person you come across that's questioning the globe, right? Or
probably.
Right, yeah.
I've seen people online talk about it and stuff.
There you go.
I've never
That's literally the reason why I'm out here is because it's being censored online. So in 2019,
I was like, you don't understand. They're only allowing us to see what they want us to see.
Exactly.
They're limiting what we have access to.
Exactly.
Like in Russia, it could be like
we don't know.
Rainbows and unicorns. No, we're not there.
There you go. Hey.
The only thing we know is if we knew somebody coming over from Russia
And then how do we know if they're not lying?
One person?
I mean, again, the only way to know is to actually go ourselves.
Exactly.
That's how we can confirm it,
But
right?
I told him, I was like, no,
Oh,
I was going to talk to
yeah, he was gonna talk to him. I guess they're trying to kick me out for just talking to people in public. That's kind of weird, right?
I don't even know.
I know. Do you want to take some info home? Maybe look into it. Do you have any questions before you go? I mean,
No, I was just curious.
if you guys want to come, like maybe, I mean,
Is
if
it
I'm,
gonna go on like YouTube or something?
I do post some conversations online.
I was like, is it a YouTube thing?
Let me give you some info. Maybe you guys could check it out. You know, that way you guys don't leave empty-handed.
It's not like trying to get us to go to church.
It's actually the opposite. Yeah, churches are there to control. You know, yeah, 100%. But yeah, I'm glad you guys stopped, man. Thank you very much.
I was like, I have to.
Thank you. You guys have a good one. Yeah. All right. All right. How's it going, man? Yeah, I'm just out here trying to talk to people. Just literally, First Amendment protected activity, just talking, and that's it.
So are you aware of like the rules for Riverside, the plaza?
Oh, I mean, he was telling me of the rules or policies they have here, but I understand the law, and policies don't supersede the law. So that's why I'm here, you know.
What are you doing here? So that way
I'm literally just doing a story, asking people, either honest and open-minded, and just having a conversation. That's it.
Okay.
Just doing a little story.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
To avoid you having an issue with them and
Right.
vice versa.
Right.
Would you be willing to go somewhere else or to the outside of the property?
Oh, that's the
Or
thing.
this spot right here?
Why this spot?
Yeah.
Well, because first of all, there's nobody walking out there. First of all.
Well, that's where all the cars are. I
Yeah.
don't think that's where everybody would be.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, nobody's really walking out there. You know, that's my point. You know, that's why I will waste my time if I was out there. You know, and seeing that this is, you know, public, you know, open to the public, you know, I figure coming here to talk to people shouldn't be an issue. I mean, that's what people do when they look. Everyone's talking to
Are
each
you
other.
trying to solicit anything?
Oh, I'm not selling anything. No.
That's what I'm
My
asking.
point
What
is just to share information, knowledge.
What kind of information?
Physics, showing how water behaves.
Tell me about it.
Oh, you want to learn about it? Oh, nice.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out this- so that way I can explain to this.
Okay. So, would you say you trust your common sense?
Sure.
Yeah? Okay. We'll find out if you
Give
do.
me the summary. You don't have to give me the whole presentation.
I mean,
Give me the summary.
just sharing information. I mean, I'm just sharing information that's actually being censored online about the physics of water. I'm just sharing information
And what about the physics of water?
that it always lays horizontal and it only has one orientation. That's it. Water only has one orientation, right? Level? Could we agree? Right?
Sure.
So the real reason I'm out here is because we've all been tricked. Our children are being lied to. I don't know if you have kids, but your kids are being lied to that the physics of water is not doing that. You want to know how we were lied to?
Sure.
Do you believe the Earth is a ball?
I don't know.
You know the Earth, right?
Yeah, I know what the Earth is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't know if it's a ball.
I've never seen it with my own eyes.
Oh, I like that. So you're not buying into that globe Earth thing.
I'm not buying into anything.
Oh, that's good. I like that. I like that. You're open-minded then. Oh, so basically that's it. I'm literally just sharing that information because the globe Earth lie, flat Earth. Have you heard about that? I'm pretty sure you heard about it. You never heard of flat Earth?
No.
Really? No. So basically, flat Earth is a term basically for people that don't believe in the globe Earth. So you know how when we were 5 years old, we were taught that we evolved from monkeys, right? The Big Bang, and we live in space in a tiny globe. That's all religion. So it's all a lie. So nobody really knows what this place is. So I'm just here sharing that information with people. So showing people the physics of water because the oceans are level. The oceans are not bending around a ball. So the oceans are just like a giant lake. So I'm just here again, just because we've all been lied to. Nobody really knows what this place is, and I want to find out.
How long do you plan on being out here?
To be honest, I was gonna leave at 3, so 10 more minutes to be honest, but you know, not too long.
I don't want there to be a further.
Oh,
between this guy and
the reason why I have this sign is because I used to kind of go do it where I go up to people like, hey, do you want to? They consider that harassment. So I figured, what's the next best thing? Well, I'll just have a question and let people come up to me. That way I'm not harassing no one, right? That's like the best way to go out and try to talk to people nowadays without being considered harassment, right?
Sure.
Yeah, so to be honest, that's literally all I'm doing, just talking to people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can let this guy know in the next 10 minutes you'll be out of here.
I mean, but here's the
that fair
thing
to
though,
say?
it's not the only time I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be back here, but I'm not gonna be back here like every day, you know. But I do plan on being here in the future.
I'm not worried about
Oh,
tomorrow
oh,
or the next day.
I like that. That's fine. All right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Next time comes, we'll deal with that then. But I'm just worried about
no,
you.
yeah, yeah. I'm actually about to head out. 3 to 5 is usually the, you know, where's the deadest. 3 to 5. So yeah, you know, I've been here for almost 2 hours.
So I say I can let this guy know hey, you'll be gone. in the
Yeah,
next 10 minutes.
I mean, not a big deal. But again, you know, I don't want him to think that he has the right to kick me out either for just speaking to people, because that'll be discrimination. Because you know what I'm saying?
It just, to me, it sounds like both you guys have your valid points and your points of view of it.
But we got to go with the law, though.
I get
I
what
think-
you're saying.
yeah, yeah.
I get what you're saying. It just may be easier for you That way you don't have to, if this guy does approach, hey, I already talked to Sharon or Linda or whoever.
Yeah.
They said it was cool for me to go.
Yeah.
This guy can kick rocks and nobody can say anything.
Right.
Versus him calling us, then everybody's sitting here, sharing their piece.
Yeah, I agree. No, yeah, I appreciate that, man. And I'm glad, you conducted yourself, professionally and didn't just, try to kick me out, like,
No,
I'm glad
that.
that. No, yeah, I'm glad.
Okay. I'll let him know you're about to wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm about to wrap it up anyway. My battery only lasts so long, No, yeah, I appreciate that, man. Can I get your name and badge number just so I know who to talk to?
Murphy, badge number 2019.
2019. Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate that, man. Thank you. I'm gonna wrap it up already, man. Don't worry.
You have a good day.
Thank you, man.
Do you mind if I give you property management contact info so you can reach them, let them know? Because
I mean, if you have a card, I'll take it. But to be honest, I'm not gonna. I don't feel comfortable going through them because again, I understand the law and asking for permission. I'm not a child. I don't want to be asking for permission. You know what I'm saying? To come out in public to talk to people. I'm not a child. That seems ridiculous to ask for permission to talk to people in public. So again, if you want to give me the card, I'll take it. But then to be honest, it's fine. I'll.
I broke that.
No worries. All right, man. Okay. Yeah, no problem, man. You too.
Hey, good morning, everyone. How are you? Do some shout outs. Thanks for coming in, guys. I've just been really busy. I watched the first half hour of this. I missed it last night, the first half hour of Dell. I've just got back in time, so it's perfect. Let's do some shout outs. Happy Joy, Susanna, Jax, Daniel, Tony D, World About Curve, Amanda popped in, Grandmaster UV, Outer Pete, OP, Chillstar, Emerald, I can't scroll back anymore, damn. And anyone I missed, cheers guys, thank you very much. Let me just, I had to go and help my friend out, that's all. He's such a numpty, he really is a numpty. This makes things like 10 times as the struggle of what it should be. Telling people that just get in the way. That's what my mate is. Bless him. He's alright though, he's alright. He wouldn't harm a fly. That's why I help the guy out a lot. I help him out as much as I can because he does struggle a lot. In life in general, just in life, life stuff. Yeah, I do help him out. Yeah, that's what I was doing. Right, let's listen to Del. Hey, Tony D's in the house. Good morning, good morning. Oh, Ben's got a new music video. Nice. Go check that out.
Hello there. Good evening. Thought we'd come on for an hour or so.
I missed the first, I think it was 30 minutes.
Chillstar, R Green, Timmy Fleming, I'm alright, cheers. Hope everybody's well. Outer Ponds Philosophy. Code in Houston, Jackademy, Chillstar, T1 Drummer, A Call for Exploration of All Restricted Areas, very good name. Jim Jensen, hello, Blood Sticker, how you doing? Midweek Sesh, Spesh, aye. Tony Dixon, how you doing? Aye, I know I'm random and sporadic with some of these lives, but let's see, when we get to the shitty, well, it's always shitty weather, but when the temperature goes down and the days are long and dark, I'm going to come and harass you, because remember, you're forced to be here. probably talk about a few things here. I know I've put some different bits and bobs in this. Andrew, hello. Nick Flea, Atlantis. Evening, fellow bum sniffers. Pissing all day here, it's pissing constantly here. I'll piss about for a wee while, give people the chance to see them live, you know, get the followers in.
I'll put it on the list. I'll put it on the list, Emerald. Hey, how you doing, old Nick? Welcome, dude. Slow, welcome. Jax, welcome. Cheers, guys. World Without Curve.
So, what's that? Mary at sea level, hello, the moon is the same spot it was when you were born, Del. That's right, Mary, did you know they a kind of star chart thing a long time ago? I forgot all about that. Does that mean I'm going to die when it's back to where it was when I was born? Does the portal open up and I can leave the shithole? It was long ago, Mary. It certainly was. Fellow ETs. Yes, George, indeed. Everybody talks about ETs, aliens, this, that and the other, and artificial intelligence. Again, you know, we could very well be the ETs in this area. As I spoke about before, there is absolutely no doubt that the body you occupy is a form of artificial intelligence. Gathers its own data, feeds you through its own algorithm. David Marks, hello, smudgy budgie. Souped into a black hole. Right. You turn into a hairy man. Pandemonium, hello. Tanya, hello. Selling Alien, how are you doing? Catch up with you guys at some point.
Dell's low volume, is he? Yeah, I think that's actually just his end. I can turn him up a little bit this end.
Visit some wee bits and bobs here.
How's that for you? That should be a little better for you guys.
How do you feel? What do you think's going on now? To say it's still simmering. You know, the grumblings are there, the threats of war are there. Again, you know, everything that's being done, everything that's went on.
There's always a threat of war. Always. They make sure there's always a threat of war, and it's always been pushed on the news. Because it keeps people that ain't clued up and ain't, you know, really with it, you know, don't see the game, it keeps them in a state of fear. And when you're in that state of fear, you're easily manipulated. It's easy for them to do it. They can sway your mind in any direction they want, as soon as they've installed that fear into you. So there's always a war. There's always some war on the horizon, on, you know, waiting to kick off. It's just an absolute joke of a game that we're all playing. We've all got to partake in this nonsense. Fake space nonsense and all the crap, all the psyops they're putting out at the moment. Incredible, right? They really upped the space psyop. They've just ramped it up to like at least 10 times, I think. They've just thrown it from all angles because they realise I think they're in panic mode and people are waking up to all their crap. It's like the footage that Dell showed at the end of this. I can't remember. It's terrible. This footage, I've never seen something so bad in my life. And this is, I've just got to fast forward and show you. This is just the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. What? Look at that. It's obvious it's a cartoon. It's CGI. So they go from like the launch to this. This is like the separation, and then they flip back into a dark pool. So we can see the techniques that they're using. Right, we can see the techniques. So they start off probably with some sort of model, or it's an actual rocket, but it's just curving out to the ocean. Yeah, it's falling in the Bermuda Triangle, right? That's where it's going. But when it's at its peak and it starts to fall back down, that's when they switch to this image, right? With this ridiculous separation nonsense, and it's all cartoons, and then they flip to the dart pool. All the close stuff, and you know, it's so easily done, guys. Right, where was there? I can't remember where. Was it like 5 minutes in or something?
Ways of living and blah blah blah, and it's all founded and rooted in absolute bollocks. So it's coming to an end, this era, and they know fine well that it's coming to an end. It's actually, Dorian, it's the worst footage. Was it Dorian that said it? Indian space, worse than. Who said it? Indian space cartoon. Yeah, well, worse than the Chinese. Yeah, last world. So yeah, it's the worst footage I've ever seen. It's worse than the Chinese stuff. That Indian footage of that cartoon is incredibly bad, and people are just lapping it up. They're not saying, hang on, why is it? First of all, why isn't it the rocket going straight up? Why is it going in this curving motion? And why is it, when you flip over, it's actually pointing down towards the fucking sea when they flip it over? And then why is this cartoon here? Why can't they actually show us this happening? Right? Why do they flip to a cartoon? And then the last image, why is it underwater in a dark pool and we can clearly see hundreds of bubbles? Not just a couple. They're everywhere. It's really hard work, guys. It's really hard work. And because eventually things that are founded upon lies and bullshit are going to come to the surface. Now they know that, which is probably why the whole COVID was the initiation of this new reordering that's going to occur. So it looks as if they're set to try and bring everybody under the fear umbrella on a massive scale. Exactly. So I would be prepared for that. And that's coming. What I mean by be prepared is emotionally. The war, the fake war, the alien fake invasion. It's all coming. The best thing to do is just relax. Don't let the fear in. Grab your popcorn and just observe the shit show that's going to be put in front of you. We all know it's bollocks. We all know what they're doing. But yeah, don't partake in it, and don't let that fear in, guys. Just don't let it in. Straight over your head. Don't let it in. It doesn't exist. Fear doesn't exist out here in the ether, in the air that I'm breathing. Fear doesn't exist out here. It exists in your mind. It's the only place it exists. And psychologically, and again, don't succumb to the fear, because that's all they're ever looking for, because it's the one method of control that you can get people to behave in all sorts of crazy ways, you know. And as I say, the rumblings are there, they're setting the stage for it. Ultimately, where it goes, I have a few possibilities that I'm not going to go into right now. I have done in the past, but make no bones about it, it's happening. As I say, they do not want accountability. They're never going to have accountability for these. Even this morning I seen Sky News Australia, and they had a little compilation clip of authorities, assumed authorities, behaving absolutely, incredibly towards members of the public, physically abusing people, choking people from the back, all because of COVID hysteria, no wearing masks, putting posts on Facebook, so Sky News Australia had took a compilation of these behaviours and now asking for accountability. And you're seeing it just at that level. That's going to go on, and it's going to happen, but they're going to distract people with bigger events, because they know fine well that that was just the first stage. Yeah. Nobody's going to be held accountable for that. No. again,
I can't even
there's no
talk
point
about it. I
in
can't
loving
even mention
ignorance.
it because I'm
And
on
then
2
events
strikes, so
unfold,
I can't.
And then you demanding some sort of justice for that. Again, how many times do we have to look at this? The idea of government is absolutely preposterous, particularly in the format that we have it right now, and what it stands for. You know, that system has allowed corruption to
Hey Vertec, how you doing?
fester and to reach every avenue.
Good morning. Good morning, Sphere.
It has to be, you know, people really have to take responsibility for that and realise that the only person that's ever going to be responsible for what goes on in your life is you. You know, it's as simple as that. The government does fuck all for you. Authorities do fuck all for you. Right? They're just there to give you the illusion that you're little poor you and that you need some father figure or mother figure or authority to take you under their wing and look after you. Right? Now, that should have happened when you were a child. There was wisdom there,
when you're 50.
true wisdom that was, you know, passed on generationally. Then you would have been taken under the wing and nurtured properly. Psychologically and emotional health would have been prevalent. Right? But expecting strangers and invisible entities within institutions to, you know, save you or help you in your life is fucking nonsense. This is, you know, this is lingering effects of telling children stories like Santa Claus is real.
Yeah.
Big loving Santa Claus comes and gives you presents for fuck all, because little old you is so special that you deserve presents from imaginary fuckwits.
Imaginary fuckwits.
Get real.
Those values really cracks me up.
Again, let's just sit back, watch it unravel, don't live in fear, right? And take whatever precautions you feel you need to take. I'm not going to tell you, you know, I'm not going to come on here doomsday prepper and blah blah blah, but you know, you're not a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy nut by paying attention to what's going on and taking certain measures to make sure that you're going to be okay. Yeah, simple as that. Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, fucking fairies, goblins, whatever. Structuring your brain to accept bullshit and lies and fantasy. Anyhow. That's it. When you get your priorities sorted out, you know yourself. It's shroom season as well. It's about to run out. I think they're saying we have to get a freeze this weekend. No, I've never told the children about Santa Claus or any of this bullshit. What's the point? As I say, you're prepping them that, you know, deceiving each other under the guise of, oh, but it's good, it's, oh, but the children, you're lying to them. You can tart it up any way you fucking like, right? And you wonder why there's a trust issue with children and their parents. First and foremost, the children are handed off to fucking unknown entities in schools for 8 hours or 9 hours a day.
Bad. It's bad.
Right? Brainwashed,
yeah.
Dictated to,
yeah.
Coerced and, you know, forced to adhere to, you know, a regime
yeah.
of brain training.
They don't actually learn anything, really, kids. You don't actually learn anything. They're just preparing you for the system, to perpetuate the retarded, crazy system that we live in. That's all they're doing for school. No, they don't teach them to critically think and, you know, ask questions. No, you just go to work, do your 8 to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, earn that money, put it back into the system, and around we go.
This is what's real, this is what's not real. You will ask to perform a natural function like going to the toilet or feeding yourself. Right? This is what happens when we allow this fucking absolute nonsense to take hold. It is. I mean, children are being prepped for it for the minute they're born. They've been fed fantasy, fairy tales, cartoons, you know, stories and fucking tales of nonsense from Santa Claus to 14.5 billion years ago. Nothing farted everything into existence. You know? And then everything in between is just fabricated bullshit.
Nothing farted everything into existence.
And then you wonder why people are running about like headless chickens, no knowing what the fuck's going on. You know?
Yeah.
Do you think this whole COVID thing would have snapped the majority of people out?
No, it's made them worse. The you know what has made people worse. That's what I believe. It's turned them even more retarded than they was before 2020. Look at them today. They're just they're far too gone. They're just.
And they would be embarrassed about their own participation in it.
Hey John, welcome. Good morning.
Who told her that about me? I think with that, you know, well,
So no one's really talking about electric cars, are they? And the electric and all the fuel prices going up. Who in their right mind would go and buy an electric car, charging it up off a fucking wall socket, when they know all these prices are going to be hiked up through the roof? You've got to be an imbecile to buy an electric car. You really have to. It's just so strange. And people are going out buying them.
well, as I say, you know, you break it down, and this is a construct. This thing that we call life, it is a creation, it's a construct. So just like any other construct, if we go into the world and we make a construct, you know that it's no the true environment. It's artificial in relation to the true environment. So, you know.
Dell's, M's track. That's cool. Love the outdoors, nature feel kind of.
Simulations usually mean that
COVID,
you're
Ed.
simulating
COVID.
something. Again, I'm not saying that's not the case. Maybe this is a simulation of an attempted simulation of some other perfect world or an idea of a different world. Who knows? But it's certainly not the real world. Again,
Oh, hold on.
intellectuals are going to
Hold on, Em. Let me just give you a wrench.
nothing
Senior. There.
can you know, nothing comes from nothing, and it came from something. Then it's a creation. And whatever gave rise to this is the true reality that exists out with
Hey,
this
into
reality.
welcome.
It's very simple.
Senses in the house, welcome.
So again, back to the fear thing. This is why I say to people, do not take this life seriously in any way, shape or form. There are events and sequences like the situation we find ourselves in that I take to a level of seriousness.
I don't take anything
bullshit
seriously.
And lies and coercion.
Start taking things super seriously. It's just going to make you ill. I always come from the standpoint of like laugh at everything, and then something does actually resonate with you. It's normally the truth, right? You know, you feel that feeling, all your hairs go up, and if truth really resonates with you, lies don't do nothing. And you can tell liars, especially once you've broken free from all their nonsense, you can spot a bullshitter and a liar instantly as soon as they start talking. So yeah, that's what I like about all this as well. It's so freeing.
Being told with
psychologically freeing, right? Definitely frees your mind. Takes a big weight off your shoulders because you realise, you realise the real truth.
And cannot go.
And that is a beautiful thing. It's really a beautiful thing.
I take that seriously, right? But in general, encompassing all those little parts, I take fuck all seriously, because again, you do not know what this life is, but we can deduce from our experience that, as I say, this is not the real world.
I'll just simplify it for you. Just enjoy the light. See now, enjoy it coming into your eyes so you can observe while you can. It's that simple. Doesn't have to be complicated. Just enjoy it.
I was excited about the pandemic.
It's like what the comedian said. It's like a roller coaster ride. You get on, you have your ups and downs, you go round and around, and you come back, and then you get off.
I thought, yeehaw, 20 years waiting for some shit to hit the fan. And then I thought, yeehaw.
Why would you want to spend all that time being miserable? You're going to spend this time here being miserable. That doesn't make any sense.
That's happening.
That's why I'm quite jovial, and I always laugh at a lot of things, because that's just naturally in me. I'm just like that anyway. But it's good to have that, because as I said, you never really take too much too seriously, and it does help you actually in real life as well. Yeah.
And then it rolls on, and I think that's deliberate, so that you get a bit disinterested, a bit disheartened. And then just at the point where everybody's kind of dazed and confused,
yeah, absolutely, Tommy.
The next stage is going to hit.
Humans are easy to lie to, easy to manipulate.
Stay alert and to pay attention.
They're easily malleable. Once you get that, install that fear into people and that uncertainty, and that they've got to rely on somebody else. Once you install that into people, that's it. They've got you. They have you. That's why when water's in front of these people, when you're telling them, well, show me your claims of water attaching to the exterior of something. They brain fart. They come out and say, yeah, but the moon's that's this shape and this is up there, and hang on, that's not what I said. That's not what I asked. They deflect. They can't handle the real truth. Why? Because the guy that Dell interviewed, he said it. I'm too scared to look at the information.
So that you can preempt and predict what's going to come.
Yeah.
Just like any reordering, like if you want to
it could be,
build
Tommy.
a new
It
home
could
on
be.
the existing foundation,
I think we are.
you have to deconstruct. You have to demolish it to build again. And that's exactly what's going on.
It could be, Chill. It could be.
Anyhow, I'm going to go back and talk a wee bit about some of this stuff that we spoke about previously. I'm going to have a wee look at a video talking about artificial gravity. And I'm going to have a wee laugh at some of the Chinese and Indian space rockets. Where am I here?
Fear energy feeds the machine. Yeah. That makes sense.
Right. Well, therein lies a problem, Joe Turner. We have witnessed waves of this over the last, what year? Nearly 8 years. Right, where waves of people start talking about this. Now I'm seeing a lot of things on TikTok, and again it's back to this disinfo nonsense of domes and ice walls and, you know, certain projections, maps of the.
That's why I like and advise people to go and watch World Without Curves' new video. Very good.
What the Earth supposedly is.
You know, the psyop that they're putting out there, where they've got all these idiots believing what we believe, and that's so far from the truth. The psyop, the pizza dish with the dome out in space, it's so far from what it is.
You get these people jumping from one cult belief system into another cult belief system. And again, it's a problem, and it drags things out. And these new waves of people are going to be just like the first waves of people, you know, sifted and cornered and, you know, buying into propaganda bollocks and making claims about things that are unproven, that they do not know about, domes, ice walls, circular maps, models, all this stuff, you know. So I wouldn't expect too much from that. The good thing is, as I've always said, it's been opened up now to, you know, a wider spectrum, and as I've spoken about so many times before, this ridicule, this silly little attitude of ridicule, right? While these very same people who try and ridicule have absolutely no clue about the model they believe to be true, as I have proven over and over again by interviewing academic students who are smug and pompous and think that they know stuff, and as soon as you start questioning their reasoning processes, they fumble and they collapse.
Yeah.
Right, so, you know, these people who promote this ridicule, again, you know, are going to fall by the wayside, because it's getting to that point now where more and more people are able to talk about it, which was the beauty of activism in the first place, because that's what allows it to happen, and particularly people who stay the course, because eventually people might ridicule and laugh, and they may do that for a couple of years, a few years, 5 years, but eventually they're going to go, wait a minute, this isn't going away. Remember the globe earthers, flat earth's dead, it's over, it's never over.
It's never been over.
It's not dead, it never was dead, you know?
In fact, I think at the moment it's starting to pick up a little momentum. I believe.
One man is detector, hello. So there's only so far that ridiculing and laughing and hand wave dismissing is going to go before eventually people go, hang on, this isn't going away. Maybe I should stop being so fucking biased and thick and maybe ask some questions. What I would encourage people is to particularly ask questions about what you actually believe. This is not about,
and why you believe it.
The Earth's flat. Ooh. No. The claim you were born into was that it's a globe. The claim that you run about regurgitating and repeating like a fucking absolute shit-stain drone. Right? That shit that you're repeating that you know fuck all about is what you should be questioning. Vacuums, space testicles, people sticking to space testicles. Right, that's where you should be putting your focus. And once you can break free from your cult belief, then we've got some open territory. Now there's a chance of real progress. But if people keep getting entrapped in the dichotomy of globe versus flat, it's not going to go anywhere. Right, I'm going to jump into this artificial gravity thing. Let me see.
It's just centrifugal force.
Sorry, I thought somebody was coming in there.
It's a physical force.
Right.
Gravity.
Let's see. So fair use and all that educational purposey stuffs, because this is obviously some mainstream promoted dude, Tom Scott, right? Fair use and all that educational purposes and whatever else. I do not own this guy's nonsense.
Who would, Del? Who would own it? Only a retard. Oh look, oh gosh.
Grabial Spatial Orientation Lab at Brandeis University, and while I was there, one of the team just casually mentioned that they have an artificial gravity laboratory. Artificial gravity facility sounds like something out of science fiction.
Remember what you've been told
at Brandeis University, and while I was there, one of the team just casually mentioned that they have an artificial gravity laboratory. Artificial gravity facility.
They've literally got scientists dressed up as clowns. Literally dressed up like a clown. Look at this dude. What is he wearing? Just in the corner there, being all weird and odd and strange. All he needs is one of those clown hair things and a nose. What the? Why would you dress like that?
It sounds like something out of science fiction.
Remember, what you've been told about gravity is that it's a pulling force. Now we've established there's no such thing as pulling forces. Right? They're telling you that at the centre of a mass there's some magical place.
Hey, take care, OP.
Space-time gets warped and
Glad you
bent
could come in today, dude.
into an
Thank you very
invisible
much.
magical place at the centre of masses. Right? So, you know, now we're going to go into what they're calling artificial gravity. And lo and behold, what are they going to use to try and create gravity? Now remember, gravity is the observation of the natural phenomena of objects falling, and in particular that they have a directional vector, which is straight down. Okay? Now, as I say, were you ever taught that motion was the cause? No. You were told all this gibberish about mass attracting mass and Einsteinian warping and bending of space-time. Gibberish. Right? Fantasy bollocks. Star Wars nonsense. Now in the actual real world, what we're going to see here is how to create a directional vector. Right? We're going to have to incorporate motion.
But it's not, and there's very much a reason why I'm keeping my head straight and forward at the moment. This is the artificial gravity facility, otherwise known as the rotating room. So,
see, the artificial gravitating room. Right? So again, physically, demonstrably, what are they utilising? Remember all this, don't be ridiculous. The Earth's not moving, no, that's controlled opposition rubbish. Right? No, it's no controlled opposition rubbish, it's factual. How reality functions, how we as human beings comprehend these things and put them into practical everyday use. No mathematical gibberish. Real world practicality.
let's do some experiments. This is unscripted.
Experiments? No, you're doing demonstrations.
I don't know what's going to happen now, other than things are going very weird when I move my arms. Okay, so it's a room that rotates. No one has invented science fiction gravity generators.
Yes, nobody has invented science fiction gravity generators. Do you know why? Because they're an idea dreamed up in the minds of fantasists. Right? People that write science fiction books and make science fiction movies. And people like Albert Einstein talking about gravitational fields. There's no such fucking thing anywhere in the natural world, and no man-made contraption could demonstrate it to you in any way, fucking shape or form. There is nothing in the natural world that you could utilise to even a slightly conceive of the gibberish that they try and promote, right?
Yet, but if you have a theoretical spaceship going to Mars and you want
theoretical spaceship going to Mars, fantasy
to generate apparent gravity to keep astronauts healthy, that's what you do. You would spin up the ship and use centrifugal force, and that lab
centrifugal effect, right? It's an effect of motion.
Okay, not a force.
Rotational motion. It's not a force.
The motion, the rotation
is the research prototype. How do humans deal with a very strange gravitational environment?
The first thing that you should do is try to push yourself off the wall and align your body with the direction of the resultant.
Oh, okay.
So for everybody that knows, the vector that's being created is away from the centre of the axis of rotation, which would be the centre of the room. Okay? Because that's where it's rotating from. A central axis. Now as it rotates, it creates a vector outwards towards the wall in every direction.
Now you're standing upright.
Wow. Can I walk, or is that gonna?
No, don't walk. A little dangerous.
It is. I'm sure many people have experienced this. This is just a fairground attraction. This thing. It's called the sticky wall. When I was a kid, I'm sure many people have experienced this.
Almost impossible to envision long-duration space flight without artificial gravity.
Take care, Susanna. Have a great day, yeah?
What I need to find out about is what speed it actually has to be going before it overcomes what we call our own gravity. Right? So what speed does it have to go at before it overcomes it?
The best way to study
21 mile an hour, maybe? I don't know.
I wonder if it's 8.9 meters a second squared.
Artificial gravity on Earth is to build a rotating environment. We started designing it in the mid-80s. Ideally, we want to study its...
Or you could just strap people into a fucking rocket
Tony, the spin doctors.
and fucking fire it along the rail very fast. And people and everything in it would stick to the back wall.
Effects on the human body, and we want to learn also how to pre-adapt astronauts to the force of artificial gravity. In 99.9%, those will be highly dysfunctional individuals until adapted.
Just like you were when you were a wee baby and you had to utilise your will to move and build muscle and skeletal structure in order to withstand what the force or the effect that we call gravity right here.
NASA standard sick bags for everyone, by the way. I was required to keep one in my back pocket throughout, just in case what's going on, and things go wrong. very quickly.
You now move your arm and try to go as straight as you can.
Oh! Oh, I moved my head.
You shouldn't move your head.
Do you get used to this?
Yeah, you get used to it, yeah. You can
What
adapt.
you're going to see
Move your
there
arms
is what a true Coriolis effect would be.
and try to feel this force that is...
Okay, just to be clear, I'm not putting this on as pushing against a force here.
If you keep going, at some point, you won't feel the force anymore.
Yeah, just like when you're a child, eventually you don't feel it anymore. Once you've built up a resistance and you become acclimatized and accustomed to your environment, right? So like the environment we're in right now, it feels and appears to us that we're stationary, that we're no moving. But I'm going to say to you that that's an impossibility. Based on the fact that we have a directional vector, things have weight to them, and we have what we call density layers.
Well, that's weird.
That's weird, right?
That's so weird.
So now you are adapted.
So if I try and do anything else, I haven't adjusted to it. But that specific movement, my body's got used to.
That's right.
Wow!
Is for me to try and throw a little tennis ball at you. I will throw it straight at you and see what happens, okay?
Whoa! What?
So that's, if the world was a wobbling, gyrating, rotating ball, right, that's probably some of the effects that you would see. I'm going to show you the latest long-range shot, which was 4 miles. Right? No accounting for curvature, no accounting for spinny, winny, fucking Coriolis bollocks, or any of that stuff. Right?
I'm struggling to work this out with Fitbit, because in my head, this is a normal reference frame. But it's clear.
We are rotating. And now I'm gonna throw it over there, and hopefully it's gonna get at you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, ready. Yes!
Oh, nice. Great.
Have a look at this 360-degree image of the lab. Now, it's a little distorted because it's from a single camera in the middle, but it's close enough. Here's the tricky part. The circumference of a circle is longer the further out you go from the middle. But because everything in that circle is rotating at the same speed once around every 6 seconds, things on the outside have farther to travel. So they're moving at a faster speed than things on the inside. On the outside, we're moving pretty fast, but that camera in the middle is just spinning on the spot. So let's mark the sideways speed that everything is moving at relative to the rest of the world. Green is fast, red is slow. When you throw a ball across that room, it keeps that sideways speed that it had when it left your hand as it travels into slower moving areas of the room. Now out at the edge that was fine, it was going the same speed as everything around it, so it looked like it aimed for the centre. But by the time...
Anywho, I don't think there's anything left in that for me to share with you. Let me see. So thanks to Andrew Execrate 200 for this little video to demonstrate what I've been saying in regards to reference frames and, you know, motion creating vectors. So notice here we've got a plumb line and obviously the other objects. Opposite to the direction of travel, you're going to get the vector in the opposite. Okay, so in this case now we're going up here, so the plumb line represents 180 degrees of what the motion actually is. There you go, there's your directional vector. These objects here, until they come into contact with the surface of this, have no weight to them. And depending on how fast this thing moves, is going to, so if we had a scale here, okay, and this object landed on it, if the reference frame went faster, then that object is going to appear heavier. So for these types of things, you can play with reality yourself. It's not that difficult to comprehend. Let me see if I can find. I'm sure I sent Andrew. Did I send you that long range thing? That was you that sent me it. Let me see here.
Shoot a bullet from a rifle. Well, a group of friends in Wyoming found out. They set a new world record for the extreme long-range shot. Local News 8's Kaylee Galavi shows us how they did it.
4.4 miles. That's the new world record for the longest rifle shot in the world. This group of friends has been preparing to land this shot since 2020, and it came with its own challenges.
Where do you go to find answers on something that no human has ever done before? And so we just kind of had to invent the best solutions we could and talk to the best experts we could find and copy as much as we could what people in the past had done.
Shepard Humphreys and Scott Austin led the team. They say there's many things that need to be considered to hit that 8-inch target, down to the temperature and altitude of each square foot.
So we not only had to know what was happening at the moment, but predict what will happen to that cube over there in 22 seconds and that one over there in 23 seconds. And so there's so much math and experience and using ballistics calculators that goes into it.
They had to order a custom gun with parts from different states, Canada, and New Zealand.
There were just so many little challenges because everything had to be absolutely perfect.
Once everything was prepped and ready, it was time to take their shot.
We have our first target hit confirmed.
But they didn't get lucky on their first or even second shot. They hit the bullseye on their 69th shot. And it took 24 seconds for the bullet to travel the 4.4 miles.
Yeah, well, have you seen the rest of that? Well, most of you have. You want to
So
go
let's
watch the
have a
rest of
look
that?
at this
You have to go
historical
to Dell's.
first for Astroscout, the first private company that I'm aware of to supposedly retrieve space junk from lower Earth orbit, albeit in a simulated form. Essentially, they supposedly sent a craft into lower Earth orbit, it jettisoned an item and then retrieved it, supposedly simulating space junk retrieval, okay? So let's have a look at this historical achievement, no doubt captured on film.
Seconds until execution of capture sequence.
Copy that. Let's put on a posh British accent to try and hide the fact that what we're presenting here is CGI. Never mind that any company in their right mind would have cameras all over that, bearing in mind we're a new company, old boy, that we'd want to see any disasters or any failings caught on film from multiple angles. That would make sense. But no, we haven't got that. We've got CGI, so I'll put up the British posh accent and we'll distract you. Over. Ridiculous.
The aim of the first capture was to release the client from the servicer and then...
I hate to break this to you, but the client and the servicer are both CGI. Now, if this was my company, I'd have cameras all over the place, capturing this from multiple different angles to further improve the tech and, of course, procedures. But no, I'll bring back the posh British man. We've got CGI here. The client mated with the servicer. Yes, it did now.
Recapture it using the magnetic plate.
Servicer and client are locked together by a mechanism called the light band. What we did was unlock this mechanism so that the two could be separated. What we did first was extend the capture mechanism of the servicer to contact the client.
So that was a very close maneuver. So we just gently pushed the client off the magnetic capture mechanism.
And once the two drifted apart for a couple of seconds, we re-extended this capture mechanism.
And then gave the servicer spacecraft a gentle thrust, so a small delta V.
Where's the footage of this historical capture? That's right, you haven't got any, mate. It just came in the form of data and CGI. Oh dear.
That moved us forward to capture the client. Should be grab. Copy that, AS Japan. Excellent news, that's confirmed capture, everyone. Well done.
We actually met.
Yes, that's confirmed capture. The client, CGI client, is now mated with the CGI server. I've got data on my screen, so this must be flying around a scientifically impossible ball. Over.
Managed to do this in a single pass. We managed to trigger an automated time sequence on board of the servicer. Just a single.
We triggered an automated time. It's all automated. It gets done somewhere else. Someone else does it. Look at his screen. The man's not got any involvement in this CGI thing whatsoever. It just gets numb. Look how obvious this is at this point.
It's a cool command to tell the servicer, execute this sequence of commands that we uploaded on board of your memory, and we managed to see this all using the telemetry.
Oh, that's really going to shed light on things. We've got multiple different camera angles here to see the client and servicer getting on just fine, yo.
Provided by the servicer, so we knew that everything was fine after that.
For the next part of the mission,
so the numbers on the screen told you that everything was fine and it was a success, and then you saw the CGI animation showing you that as well. So yeah, sweet as a nut.
We're going to be proving that we can upload automated programs which will enable the servicer to run without specific ground commanding.
There you go. It just made it easier for the fraudsters. Now they don't need to. It's already uploaded, so now they don't even need to have any involvement. Where's the footage of this achievement of the capture anyway? You've still not proved you've done it. It's only CGI. It's obviously fake, lads.
The success of this first capture was the conclusion of months of very hard work with the UK team and in collaboration.
Company's been going since 2013, mate. Wages being paid left, right and centre, and all you've done, your only achievement so far is numbers on a screen and a CGI servicer mating with the CGI client. That's it.
With our Japanese colleagues. It is also the promise of future successes and yeah, very exciting prospects.
Completely deluded, isn't he?
And there, ladies and gentlemen, is the desperation of heliocentric space. It's just a fantasy world, cartoons, silly stories. And they're trying to get some more clout because clearly the globe's been steamrolled. It's impossible. Even the representatives of it online make it look ridiculous now with their propaganda and their idiocy. I mean, flying cows, I mean, come on, lads, sort yourselves out. And if it wasn't bad enough, we've now got supposed private companies that have been operating for 8 years, and their only achievement, despite paying wages left, right and centre, is to get a CGI servicer to mate with a CGI client. And of course they got the data on the screen to tell them everything was okay. I mean, if you cannot see this at this point in time, that's why I don't waste my time with you guys. When you're ready and you can think with a bit of clarity, I'm here. But until then, I am not entertaining your delusions. Sorry. If you want to believe this, then that's up to you. But do not expect me to get in any conversations with you about your fantasies. It's ridiculous, lads.
What's up, guys? Hope everybody's doing well and having a great day. In this video, I have 3 videos to share with you guys sent in from... I want to share with you guys videos that have been shared with me. I've seen this before, this phenomena, over the years, but I've never had 3 videos shared with me in such a short period of time. This first video footage was sent in by Connie from South Florida, and she said she happened to notice as she was out working on her camper here, she happened to notice what seemed like the sun flicker, and you can see the sun's up in the sky and there's no clouds, so she began recording the sun. This was from October the 5th in the morning of 2022, and you can clearly see it looks like the sun is doing some sort of pulsating in the sky. So I received Connie's video from South Florida, and then I received another video from Southwest Florida, Sanibel Island. goes back to September 13th of 2022. And you can clearly see on this day there were no clouds in the sky, just like Connie's video, and the sun appears to be pulsating. Could be some sort of a processing anomaly, I don't know. But Connie, in the first video that I shared with you guys, she claimed that she noticed the light, the daylight flickering. That's what compelled her to record the sun. This next video was sent in by Brendan out of Connecticut, and this video was from October the 7th of 2022, less than 48 hours ago. This was detected by his Nest camera on the front of his house. And as you're going to see in this video, as the sun entered the field of view of his Nest camera, you can clearly see that the sun looks like it's pulsating. I don't know if that's because the trees are maybe interfering with the light and the camera is attempting to focus on the extreme bright light and just simply cannot. Not quite sure what's going on there, but I've received video footage like that in the past, but I've never received 3 in less than a month. So if you guys have noticed anything like that, please leave a comment down below in the comment section, because Connie down here in South Florida, she claims that she noticed the light flickering, and once again, that's what compelled her to take that video that she did. Great job, guys. Keep the photos and videos coming. If you have any photos,
I nearly pissed me dax when I seen this vision of Russia's lunar rover from 1970. I mean, it's equally as fake as NASA, but have a bloody look at this thing. It looks like a rice cooker on wheels. And have a gander at this bozo with his joystick, thinking he's playing on an old bloody Atari 2600. And then when your rice is cooked, the lid comes up automatically. Dig in, fellas. And who the bloody hell's filming this shit on an unmanned flight? And have a look what the rice cooker arrived in. Bloody hell. Surely the Russian public, or anyone for that matter, didn't believe this.
Has Leo seen this footage? Has Leo seen? I bet he hasn't. This can't be real, right? Russia's moon hoax. That's terrible. Someone should send this footage to Leo.
Shit. How's it going here, boys? Yeah, pretty good, boss. Just pressing random buttons and looking like I'm doing fuck all. Hey, Dimitri, can you print us out some photos, mate? Not a worry, mate. I'll just fire up the dot matrix printer right now. And here's our closing shot with the blob of Play-Doh in the background. Gee whiz. Well, I nearly picked...
Look how ridiculous this has got. A robot painter will make the case for AI art before the House of Lords this week. Essentially, you've got this robot fighting for robot artists' rights in the House of Lords. As if there aren't more pressing important matters here. The mockery is off the charts. Look at this. Ada is this robot's name. Here's Ada. Some of her art. Bear with me. This is just a snippet from the House of Lords from today with Ada putting her case forward for robot art.
Is that the robot?
Oh dear.
Oh no.
How do you produce art, and how is this different to what human artists produce?
I produce my paintings by cameras in my eyes, my AI algorithms, and my robotic arm to paint on canvas, which result in visually appealing images. For my poetry, using neutral networks.
Think about how ridiculous this is. This dungaree
Humanity is completely insane. It's insane. Look at your screen.
Fighting for robot artists'
Look
rights.
at these morons.
Think about how ridiculous that is, given the problems going on at the moment.
And they want us to listen to these morons that are listening to this robot? What?
What would be a more important pressing matter here? For example, how about the increase in unexpected deaths? This mysterious rise in unexpected deaths that none of the mainstream media outlets seem to be able to work out and put.
Senses, stop it. Stop that. Is that Stephen Hawking's transitioned? That's the funniest shit I've heard for ages. This is Stephen Hawking's transitioned into this. Oh God.
Put two and two together.
You guys are crazy in the chat. You are.
Everyone's scratching their heads. That would be worth coming together and discussing, rather than this tosh.
This involves analysing a large corpus of text to identify common content and poetic structures, and then using these structures.
Creepy mannequin weirdos. Let's just have a look at this art these robots put out, supposedly. Yeah, nothing special. Yeah, whatever. Ridiculous.
Oh shit.
Look at it. Look at the state of this. You've got to laugh at the absurdity of all of this right now. And if you believed in the political pantomime before and you voted, then shame on you. I've never voted. I always saw this for the charade that it was. Don't entertain this silliness. Stop voting. Start highlighting the absurdities of the mainstream narrative. Whether it be they're discussing where we actually are, or of course the political pantomime. Like addressing the issues of robot rights, robot artist rights, rather than actually getting to real issues like the rise in unexpected deaths. Oh dear.
When the days are cold and the cards all fold and the saints we see are all made of gold, when your dreams all fail and the ones we hail are the worst of all and the bloods run stale, I wanna hide the truth, I wanna shelter you, but with the beast inside, there's nowhere we can hide. No matter what we breed, we still are made of greed. This is my kingdom come, this is my kingdom come. When you pull my key, look into my eyes, it's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide. Don't get too close, it's dark inside, it's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide. Curtains call, it's the last of all. When the lights fade out, all the sinners crawl. So they dug your grave and the masquerade will come calling out at the mess you made. Don't wanna let you down, but I am hellbound. Oh, this is all for you. Don't wanna hide the truth. No matter what we breed, we still are made of greed. This is my kingdom come, this is my kingdom come. When you pull my key, look into my eyes, it's where my demons hide, it's where my demons
we're gonna do this, I guess, a little bit differently because checkout time's in 20 minutes. I gotta call PayPal about that loan. I tried the loan again today, no dice, so we're gonna be in this car with the streets and the butt mud in the back, I guess, unless, well, I'm gonna try doing, what do we call it? Crimes and Hollers.
Okay, this is Morgul rapping for money. This is how desperate some people get. Well, he actually ain't too bad, but man, Morgul, sort yourself out, dude. Get yourself a job.
And rhymes for dollars. So basically, the more I rhyme, the more dollars y'all send, maybe something. But we need help bad if y'all want to do it. If not, this track is the hypothetical, lyrical, hyperliteral, hyperlogical equivalent of panhandling with legs tucked under skateboards and hacked off my right arm for cover, of course. Imagine me, a felon, falling down on knees with one hand out, knees pressed firm to the chest and a sign that says, trees! Beat up old hat on the deck, tentatively, passively, and vigorously inviting thee to the next session of Crimes and Hollers and Rhymes for Dollars.
Well, I've heard that line somewhere else. I've heard it in a battle rap or something years and years ago. That rhymes for dollars.
And rhymes for dollars. Avoiding New York like I'm itching them chicken pox. Avoiding the noise like a half a pizza in a box. Cheese for them dummy rocks. Rocking the Roxaset. Molly Percocet. Voices in my mind making choices like a dime. Joy sitting behind me cake and cheese like a lime. Key lime like lemon meringue. Steal time like Key Biscayne. Miss meal time like trays done came. Coronavirus with lime and salt for fun.
I think he's homeless, Jax. Actually, I think this is a hotel that he's actually in. But yeah, he's I think he's on something, because I did watch one of his the other day and he looks pretty mash up on it.
Lollipop, Veruca Salt, we got the golden tickets and won. Goons always want what you got, creeping on come-ups like orange sherbet, like Flintstone Pops. Popping Gucci like 2 Live Crew, skywalking like you know who, grind sloppy like Lil Jews, grind poppies like who fried who. Girls so money make a casino look like
2 Live Crew. I like big butts and I just don't lie. I'm sure that's the 2 Live Crew.
like a De Niro, who's who in this motherfucker, fucking off in this motherfucker, ducking shots like Junior Mafia, dunking donuts like Little Pigs run slow motion, blowing houses like Big Bad Wolves, D-Wizzle like 6 Sad Wolves, Sticky Tizzle like Blix Tex Pulls, Alka-Seltzer dropping them springs, spring back when I step left, clear water left, crystal light, light that torch when I step right, fight with force, with sabers, with light being green when I skirt, puff, puff, pass, rotation right, pass that Dutchie upon the left-hand side, pawn, take, queen, done lost both nights, lost in nights and my rooks lost fights, knives and backs and smiles and faces, Amina Pachillo run miles in races, puff green and patios with styles and graces, teed off on green, ride rough pacemakers, keep pace.
I might send more goals and money for this. He's doing a great job.
With horses, tree houses with titans, trip acid with ravers and ravens and podunks. Made me a sign that said, we'll work for beers. Sign of the time, made of trees, made of tears. Gold is the dawn.
Hey, what's up, like Hey, Rebel, music's in the house.
And the rest fed to bears.
This is Morgul. This is the Morgul Rebel. The dude's homeless and he's rapping for money.
Pajamas, fed up with Bama's, Missouri brought hammers. Misery cracking them knees in Missouri. Slurries of snow fell in the middle of summer. Sometimes in summer dimes pull up in Hummers. Sometimes them dimes always pull up in Hummers. Humorous dimes never do blow in summer. Mean was the dime that popped you in humorous. Funny as Bone Thugs and humorous ice cream trucks.
I quite like that. Humorous Bones Thugs. Yeah, the Bones Thugs and Harmony. He's not too bad, Morgul.
Cream crock.
Humorous, you know, the bone. Is it the bone in the arm? Or...
Thuggin' yo scene cracker, screaming out ice cream while she screamed 4 ice cream. Spectacles tickle the test with 4 aces. Spading the digs while I dig in the muddiness. Big old brown eyes, batting lashes, I'm digging it. Mud in your eye, dripping cream from my ride. Slugging your mind, sipping cream with my slide. Plugging the grind, flipping cheese in my mind. Flying like lion, like bugs in them rugs under thugs. Thugs in my mind, dying over and over. Snow in Miami, summertime like Sublime. Living easy and whitewashed off the greasy. Whitewashing fences like Huck and Tom Sawyer did. Walking around after I seen that cracker dead. Deader than doornails on SpongeBob's hangnails. Dancing a two-step with buckshot twos to the spinal cord. Lumbar like lumber, sublime in the summer. Humbars like humbugs and Scrooge like the Stooges. Ebony eagles toot up Ebenezer's. Felons be flying out freezer straight cheesing. Talon grit grains between triples and sixes. Chicken heads gobble the socks cutting mixes. Flicking out ashes, bobbleheads digging this. Blessed be my Amina Pachi, gold lace sets pass right through me. Amenities like anemones, friends just like enemies. Not very sweet, but extra cinnamony. Kitty cat like mellow yellow, chocolate like mocha latte. Springing traps like Bengals bungalows. Fizzy heads like banquets of gold. Tried to...
Yes, well, I think Morgold's in between hotels or something at the moment. He's just about, you know, he's from one, then he gets kicked out of one, then he's in another one. It must be quite unsettling, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'll take the mick, and he shouldn't be really e-bagging, but some people, you know, they're desperate, and you know, he's got probably quite a few subscribers. Yeah, he's got 33,000 subscribers more. So he's just, I suppose he just needs a bit of help there.
Quit 5 times 5 years ago. Had to skip down to Orlando. Florida too hot to pimp, bro. Florida too hot to drag mink, bro.
In fact, you know, knowing his situation, I'd rather, you know, although I don't give money to people, I'd rather give money to someone like Morgold that actually needs it, right, than these other morons that are just cashing it in.
I'm poisoned from too many scrump, though. Windows tall like floors to ceilings. Love my girl, too hot for stealing. Hard like steely knives. Like...
You can't mute FPV. You got to listen to the raps. Morgold's raps. You got to listen, bro.
Eagles. Heart like Steely Dan, only evil. Evil lied.
Steely Dan, but evil.
And died 5 times 5 years back. Evil lied and plushed down pillowcases and Cadillacs. Evil lived, arachnids laid webs. Marmar laid bricks for mansions and cribs. Marmar, baby, that's Martagena. Making sure DAs lose cases. Easily like changing faces. Easily like Easy-E staircases. Troll Patrol just can't keep paces. Afro Troll was pink and like burgundy. Jitterbug sipped on...
Clark, it's got nothing to do with race. Come on. It's got nothing to do with it being white.
Under pink and bourbon, see? Murder C like C murder bun B. Trolling...
Some of these lines are actually quite good.
Froze to and fro like highway patrols. 95 south goes to and 95 south goes fro. Skipping puddles and popping toes. Hopping puddles and menacing denizens.
He needs someone to make some beats for him. Or he needs to rap over the beat. If he did it over a beat, and it wouldn't sound too bad, you know.
Popping snitches and bagging crimson rings. Bagging Bilbo's rings like Gandalf did. Surviving droughts like Trey 6, hands off did.
Rebel's not...
Stacking toes like ears.
Rebel's not feeling it. Rebel's like, nah. He just goes on a bit. Yeah, these are like, they're kind of like, he's doing like a he's doing like a cipher. They call them ciphers where you just rap.
Love my girls, just can't say no.
But, there's another 10 minutes, guys. No, there's not. No, there's not. He stops in like, oh, he's still going. Damn. Still going up to 8 minutes. Damn, he raps for 8-9 minutes straight.
Sticky bows like Ramon the Paladin. Twinkle toes throw bows like Escobar. Disco balls pack shows like Nostradam. Frisky balls mac hoes like Futuron. Frisking hoes like oil dip catnip. Dipping out rednecks dip wintergreen. Hand soap flush like 2,000 toilets. Thugging scenes like boils and water. Slugging fiends like winds and wings. Winding back the time like kings and sings. Drinking love like beasts drink beers. Drunken love like fears and tears. Dropping tears and dripping diamonds. Ectoplasm drips like Slimer. Always sliming rhymes like Deodams. Demons rhyming inside my mind's eye. Cherubim pros like gyroscopes elbows. Angels sing beside down-stuffed pillows. Anglo-Saxon front and pink in the middle. Medium well, but extra medium. Extra small, but Amina Pacillo. Ecstasy, bail out, cracker beef Frito. Free like the bees or the birds or the seraphim. Geez, that girl's so tall in the spirit. 10-foot soul ain't 5 foot near it. Breezy, beautiful, full of shit. She is it for me and I'm near it. Dig that broad like shovels digging in trenches. Dug so hard, don't even mention it. Plug my heart like 9 winches did. Pull me.
He must be in a pretty bad place. He's got to be in a bad spot there. What's this? Imperial stone.
On the imperial tombs of the Byzantine emperors in a possible connection to our hidden history. Now, what makes these tombs unique is the stone with which they're constructed of. It's a type of granite called porphyry, and it's typically purple or red in color. And here's just a
I wonder why it's purple and red. I think it's something to do with the red cedar. I mean, you can even see the wood grain, can't you? Come on.
Photo showing 3 of these tombs in front of the Archaeological Museum in Istanbul. Now, the unique element to this type of stone, this porphyry, is that it can only be quarried in one place in the world, and that is in Egypt, at this particular site where there's this mountain. And as you can see by some of these photos, very inhospitable, remote location, and today it's in very much in a ruinous state. Now, according to the history, this particular site was discovered in 14 AD. But one of the mysteries is that they stopped all production. All the quarrying of this particular stone was stopped, I think, around 335 AD, or somewhere in the 4th century. So even before the fall, the start of the...
That was the Mughal Clark. He's got 33,000 subscribers.
Of the Western Roman Empire. Well before that, they stopped quarrying the stone. So people are kind of trying to figure out why that happened. I think I have some ideas, but yeah, so it's in a ruinous state today, and we're going to touch on that. But what I wanted to add is that this would have been a whole settlement. In addition to a quarry, you would have had houses, temples, and workshops. And just like a lot of sites that we look at, this particular site was lost to history. I found a blogspot talking about that. It's almost hard to believe that for ages the quarry was lost. So there's this mystery surrounding what happened, why did they stop quarrying the site, and then the site gets lost to history only to be rediscovered in 1823. Now there is the ruins of a temple that is still available for people to see, but again, this is a really remote site. But it's the Temple of Serapis, and it just lies in ruin. Like a lot of these sites, they're just destroyed. And I came across another website just talking about how production at the quarries eventually stopped. And I think he was just speculating it must have been some sort of economic disruption, or climate change must have been the chief factors. But apparently the experts are baffled.
Climate change.
I think I have some speculations anyway. Here's just another photo showing the ruins of this site. But I think this is linked potentially to a major destructive event, a worldwide event that I think brought an end to a lot of empires, including what we call the Roman Empire, potentially the Maya civilization, and buried a lot of other civilizations as well. So again, that's sort of my view at the moment, but I think that's the reason why production stopped, and maybe the climate changed is because of this event. Now, I'm going to touch back on these tombs, but I wanted just to briefly talk about this porphyry stone for a little bit longer, because in addition to making tombs, there were also columns made of this stone, and there's one still located in Istanbul, what used to be Constantinople, and it still exists, but it's referred to nowadays as the burnt column because there was an event, I believe in the 1700s, that caused it to be burnt. But if you look at some of the older depictions of it, the base of this column looks like it has been altered, and I guess there was a statue on top of it which is now no longer there, but I think it's definitely well over 100 feet, and I think it's comes in sections. It's held together by bands of iron, I believe. Now, what's interesting about this particular column is that in addition to being a burnt column, which again they say was caused by earthquake and fires in the 1700s, it's also the column's original platform is about 8 feet below ground. So we have a burnt column, and a portion of the column is 8 feet below ground level. And I think it's these steps here on the left-hand side. This is all, are mostly below the current ground level. Why do I think that's interesting? I'm gonna address that here shortly, but I wanted to mention just one more thing. According to the history, this column was the central part of the Forum of Constantine. It was located in the center of this forum, and today none of this exists. And we're told the reason why it doesn't exist is because of the Crusaders, the Fourth Crusade in, I believe, 1204. Major fires and looting and destruction. So they're the cause of why this forum no longer exists. But they say this was destroyed in large part because of fire. Again, we have a burnt column that they say was burnt and destroyed, well, burnt in the 1700s. And then we have this forum which no longer exists. They tell us it was destroyed and damaged because of fires, but in the 1200s. Okay, and then we also have portions of this column are now 8 feet below ground level, the current ground level. So burnt and below ground level. Why? I'm gonna tie this in a neat bow here in a second, but just a recreation of what this forum might have looked like in the past. So yeah, okay, so they're telling us the earthquakes and a fire in the 1700s caused the column to be burnt, as well as the surrounding neighborhood was destroyed. Well, I've touched upon Istanbul in a previous video. There's a lot of things that are burnt and buried in Istanbul, and in a previous video I touched upon there is this metro station that they were doing excavations in, I think 2010, 11 or 12, and they stumbled upon this ancient harbor or port of Theodosius, and they found like 30 ships, they found thousands of animals, but they were buried under 10 to 40, 50 feet of sediment. And then less than a mile and a quarter away, there used to be a hippodrome here. And a hippodrome is like, I guess they would race chariot racing and these sorts of things. But today, most of the hippodrome is destroyed. And this was all above ground at one point. But these arches are now, some of them are, the remains of some of these arches are now below the current ground level. So there was some event that buried large portions of this area in Istanbul, what used to be Constantinople. Now this column, so this hippodrome and this port were about a mile and a quarter away. I've got another graphic here. This is where this column would be, and I still have this location of where that harbor, they found that harbor, and it's actually only a mile away, so it's closer. This is closer than the hippodrome, so it's closer, and portions of this column are buried as well and burnt. So what I'm thinking is the reason why this column is partially buried and burnt was because of a and the reason why this harbor is covered in layers of sediment, and the reason why this hippodrome was largely destroyed and partially buried is, I feel it's because of this destructive event in the first millennium. The same event that I theorize has brought an end to the quarrying of that particular stone in Egypt, and may be responsible for the climate change in that region as well. So that's sort of my views, and I just, I'm showing here, there's articles talking about in a lot of basements in present day Istanbul, you can explore the old world, traces of it in people's basements. So a lot of buried things, a lot of things that are burnt and damaged, and I think it was one major event in the first millennium. Now, getting back to these tombs, these made of that porphyry stone, that granite, speaking of things that are buried, they found, I believe this was a lid for one of these tombs, and they found it under a tree in 1916 during excavations, and it's an ancient plane tree. Now, I'm not sure how old this tree was, but speaking just of things being buried, and then, you know, we know that these lids date back associated with the tombs, these sarcophagi, they date back to the first millennium. So I can't help thinking the reason why this is all buried because of the same event. And this is just another photo from a different angle. But on the left, you can see the lid. And they believe the lid goes to the tomb of Julian that was discovered in 1916 beneath a tree in this particular area. And I believe 2 lids were found at the same time. But there doesn't look like a ton of room for bodies, actually. Just weird. All these things are buried or destroyed. And I think we're just given a lot of reasons, earthquakes, tsunamis, things like crusades, but I think we're looking at a major destructive event in the first millennium. That is just my view. So, and I just wanted to mention, I guess there were 94 Byzantine emperors, and around 10% of these sarcophagi have survived. And despite enormous efforts they took, only one Byzantine emperor was found in his tomb. And I guess it wasn't even in one of these tombs, it was in like a wooden coffin. And the reason why all these tombs are a lot of them are damaged, and the reason why apparently is because of when the Ottomans took over, they cleared out all the tombs and burials they could find. So I just wanted to throw that in there. So just kind of interesting, just another element to all this, and I just wanted to touch on it. Now I just wanted to do one more random update. I came across another star fort in the Vauban style in western Brazil, and I believe it's right on the border with Bolivia, I believe. And this fort is it's so remote, and I believe they say it was built in the late 1700s by the Portuguese. And there's just not a ton to defend out here, but when you look at some of the older photos, it was completely taken over by the jungle. So there was a couple expeditions in the early 1900s to sort of clear out all the jungle remnants. And this entrance is interesting. There's these steps that they've placed so you can kind of walk up to the entrance, but it's off center, and I'm just wondering, does this look like recent work here? Do you think they created this after the fact, or was it always like this? I'm not sure, just mentioning that. But in addition to that interesting entrance, there's been a lot of archaeological digs within this particular star fort, and I found this article which I had to translate, but it was just talking about how more than 40,000 pieces have already been found in the excavations inside the fort. So just a really remote place, and this was, I think, a news article from 1913, I believe. So yeah, just another questionable fort for me in the middle of nowhere. And this is kind of hard for me to verify because of the language barrier, but there is supposedly some interesting formations in the jungles relatively close to this star fort, and you have these almost geometric patterns in the jungle, and just really interesting stuff. And there was a LiDAR image that I've seen, and I'm not sure of the veracity of it, but it seems to show some potential structures. And there's speculation that there's tunnels leading from this star fort to the surrounding jungle and potentially some of these structures that are underneath the jungle presently. So a lot of weird things surrounding this star fort, and I thought I'd just mention it to you guys. Now, once again, I'd like to give a shout out to my patrons. Your help is always greatly appreciated. And I think that's about it for today. So until next time, take care. Bye.
Take me back to Constantinople. No, you can't go back to Constantinople. Been a long time gone. Constantinople, why did Constantinople get the works? That's nobody's business but the Turks.
Flat Earth has long been denigrated, derided, and disparaged as being the most crackpot of all conspiracy theories, marginalized, mocked, and ridiculed for centuries as being an ignorant, ancient, unscientific worldview. But the facts of the matter are far from what you have been told. When thoroughly examined and diligently researched with an open mind, any skeptical, critical thinker will find it is actually the tilting, wobbling, spinning spaceball Earth promoted by NASA and taught in schools that is truly ridiculous and unscientific. The following are 20 ways anyone can prove for themselves that Earth is a level, stationary plane. 1. Common sense. It cannot be overstated or overemphasized. The most important thing to realize, and most obvious way to know you are not spinning on a ball, is your own common sense and lived experience. You have always, and will always, experience yourself as living right side up on a motionless Earth, with the sun, moon, and stars revolving over and around you. This is common sense, and what everyone in the world personally experiences every day of their lives. We are taught to believe otherwise, however, many things completely contrary to our own common sense and experience from a very early age. We are told that people living down under the spinning ball Earth in Australia are actually living upside down relative to those residing in the northern hemisphere, while an invisible force, strong enough to hold people, buildings, and oceans stuck to the underside of a rapidly rotating ball, but weak enough to allow birds, bugs, and planes to take off and fly with ease, keeps Earth's atmosphere spinning in perfect balance and holds everyone firmly to the surface without crushing us. We can clearly see that the horizon is horizontal, but we are told it curves. We can feel that the Earth under our feet is motionless, but we are told it moves. We can observe the luminaries revolving around us, but we are told it is us that revolves. It is obvious that stars are stars, but we are told that stars are suns. We can see the sun is bigger than the stars, but we are told stars are bigger than the sun. We can see the sun and moon are the same size, but we are told the sun is 400 times larger. It is obvious that up is up and down is down, but we are told there is no such thing. As stated by flat Earth author David Wardlaw Scott, with the modern astronomer there is theoretically neither up nor down, though his experience belies his assertion every time he looks up to the heavens or down to the ground. Such aberration of intellect is really to be pitied. The 3rd century philosopher Lactantius was similarly perturbed about the idea, stating, "A sphere where people on the other side live with their feet above their heads, where rain, snow, and hail fall upwards, where trees and crops grow upside down, and the sky is lower than the ground? The ancient wonder of the hanging gardens of Babylon dwindle into nothing in comparison to the fields, seas, towns, and mountains that pagan philosophers believe to be hanging from the earth without support. Truly, the idea that people are standing, ships are sailing, and planes are flying upside down on certain parts of Earth, while others are tilted at 90 degrees and all other impossible angles, is utter absurdity and an affront to common sense. In fact, common sense is the first casualty of globe belief. No child or unindoctrinated man would ever conclude or even conceive, if given to their own devices, based on their own personal observations,
welcome.
that Earth was a spinning ball revolving around the sun.
Welcome on up.
When children are indoctrinated from a very early age to abandon their common sense and lived experience of a geocentric
you're right, Jax, it is.
in favor of this nonsensical, heliocentric globe model taught in schools, a schism occurs in their psyche. No longer can they trust their own senses and experience, and instead must trust information completely contrary to it, taught by supposed experts and authority figures who insist their version of reality is correct. When children see that every adult around them believes wholeheartedly in the spinning globe, and hear that only our ignorant, unscientific ancestors believed otherwise, they readily abandon the empirical evidence of their senses and adopt the prevailing nonsensical model. As stated by Flat Earth author E. Eschini, the one thing the fable of the revolving Earth has done, it has shown the terrible power
Both
of
of
a
them
lie.
images are crazy.
A lie has the power to make a man a mental slave, so that he dares not back the evidence of his own senses. to deny the plain and obvious movement of the sun he sees before him. When he feels himself standing on an earth utterly devoid of motion, at the suggestion of someone else, he is prepared to accept that he is spinning furiously round. When he sees a bird flying and gaining over the ground, he is prepared to believe that the ground is really traveling a great number of times faster than the bird. And finally, in order to uphold the imagination of a madman, he is prepared to accuse his maker of forming him a sensiferous lie. 2. Fake photographs. One of the main reasons the average person believes the world is a globe is because of the globular Earth images and video footage provided by NASA and other space agencies. Hundreds of such pictures and thousands of videos featuring a globe Earth are freely available on the internet, yet most people never critically examine them with a skeptical eye. From the earliest photographs to the latest live streams, NASA and the world's other space agencies continue to be exposed for their Hollywood-style trickery. When conscientiously compared, contrasted, and investigated for inconsistencies, it turns out every single image and video showing a globular Earth has been manipulated in some way. All globe videos, for example, are achieved using either a fisheye lens to curve the horizon or created completely through CGI technology. One clear instance of the latter is NASA's 1990 time-lapse video of Earth supposedly filmed by their Galileo space telescope from 1.3 million miles away. This video features the Earth globe spinning in space uncut for 25 hours and shows the exact same clouds present without ever dissipating, changing shape or location the entire time. In reality, if you watch clouds in the sky for several minutes, three things will inevitably happen. The clouds will all move, some will morph, gradually changing shape, and others will dissipate and disappear completely. In NASA's official footage of the spinning ball Earth, however, the entire world's cloud cover doesn't dissipate, morph, or move for 25 hours, which is, of course, impossible, and proof of fakery. A good example of fisheye lens fakery is the famous 2012 GoPro Red Bull jump, where skydiver Felix Baumgartner was lifted to a record-breaking 128,000 feet in a stratospheric balloon, then jumped back to Earth. 7 GoPro cameras on the outside of the craft and strapped to Felix himself recorded the entire ascent and descent. Astute observers will notice that from ground level all the way up to the 24-mile apex, the horizon is significantly curved and remains equally so for the entire ascent. This is because the curve is artificial and being caused by the GoPro camera's standard-issue fisheye lens. Once Felix reaches his peak altitude and the door of his craft opens, an inside camera mounted behind him without a fisheye lens reveals the truth, showing a perfectly flat horizon still at eye level, 128,000 feet high. As for the hundreds of supposed photographs available of the globe, NASA readily admits that these are composite images and not actual photographs. They claim the composites are made by taking strips of data sent from satellites, spliced together in Photoshop, and colorized for the final creation. NASA's senior program analyst and lead data visualizer, Robert Simon, admitted in an interview that they are photoshopped because they have to be. When compared side by side and viewed with a discerning eye, the inconsistencies become obvious. The coloration of the land and oceans and relative size of the continents drastically changes between images, and they often feature far too little land mass for 50% of a globe. Several of NASA's blue marble Earth images have repeat instances of exact cloud patterns clearly copied and pasted into place. Computer enhancements done on Earth images taken during the Apollo missions also show similar photo trickery. When hues are removed from the black backgrounds and brightness enhanced, distinct rectangular artifacts appear around the globe where they were pasted in, again proving them to be doctored composites. Furthermore, when NASA's Earth pictures are compared with those from the Russians, Chinese, and other space agencies, the differences become evident, and the fact that they are all simply Photoshop images becomes obvious. If NASA and the world's space agencies could provide real, legitimate photographs and videos of a globe, they most certainly would. So the fact that they continue producing and pumping out nothing but fisheye fakery and CGI cartoons is strong evidence that Earth is not what they claim. 3. Water. The natural physics of water are that once contained and undisturbed, the surface will always remain horizontal. This fundamental physical property of water is why it has been used as a leveling tool by builders and engineers for millennia. Whether in a bucket, bathtub, pond, lake, or an ocean, the surface of water at rest always remains flat and doesn't have the ability to show convexity or any shape whatsoever upon its surface. This fact is easily demonstrable and empirically verifiable, but completely at odds with what we are told about the globe. For Earth to be globular and over 70% covered in water, the oceans must be somehow curving around and sticking to all sides of a rapidly spinning ball suspended in space. It is simply impossible to make water behave this way. As anyone can experiment for themselves, bodies of water will not stick to the underside of a ball and cannot show convexity or any other shape upon their surface. Globe defenders will often point to water droplets, meniscus, surface tension, or adhesion, claiming these are examples of water bending or sticking to a surface, which is nothing but a fallacy of false equivalency, as these only happen at a very small scale, the size of a coffee cup. The claim is entire oceans wrapping around and sticking to the underside of a spinning ball, not a water droplet or the meniscus in a glass filled to the brim. NASA has also recently taken to faking CGI water balls using augmented virtual reality technology in an attempt to convince the public that water can behave this way. This kind of demonstration, done in a reference frame inaccessible to 99.99% of the population, however, is unrepeatable by the world's scientists and skeptics, and is therefore not scientific or permissible as proof of anything. First, they claim only massive objects the size of Earth have this attractive property. Then, as evidence, they show a phenomenon allegedly outside of our earthly reference frame. In other words, they are claiming bodies of water can bend around, stick to a ball, and show curvature upon their surface, but only at a scale too big for the public to recreate. Then they are claiming water can ball up and float suspended in air, but only in a reference frame too far for the public to recreate. As for water level, globe defenders have actually attempted to completely redefine the term level just to fit with their dogma. The true definition of level is a flat horizontal plane with no deviation in elevation along its surface. Water always reliably seeks and maintains its own level, and that is why it has been used in spirit levels and construction projects from time immemorial to create perfectly horizontal structures, no matter their size. Globe zealots, however, unsatisfied with this obvious truth and clear definition, have attempted to redefine level to instead mean curved. Their globe-friendly version of level means equal heights around a ball when measured from a central point. The fact of the matter is, however, that nobody has ever reached this hypothetical center point of the hypothetical Earth globe, so their redefined term cannot be tested or falsified. Until that day, rest assured there is good reason we call it sea level and not sea curve. 4. The horizon. The horizon is always perfectly horizontal, 360 degrees around the observer, regardless of altitude. If Earth was actually a globe, no matter how large, as an observer ascended, the horizon would remain fixed in position and fall below the observer the higher climbed. In reality, all amateur balloon, rocket, plane, and drone footage filmed without a fisheye lens at maximum altitudes of over 20 miles high show a completely flat horizon still rising to eye level. Only in NASA and other space agency footage does the horizon ever curve or appear below the observer's eye level. In the heliocentric model, the horizon is claimed to be the physical curvature of their globe, and the reason boats receding from a shore-bound observer disappear from view. This was actually one of the original alleged globe-Earth proofs presented by Aristotle and still parroted by believers today. But by using modern zoom technology, we now know that the horizon is not the physical curvature of a globe, and those boats can be zoomed back into full view. This is because the horizon is not an objective physical phenomenon at all, but rather a subjective optical phenomenon based on an individual observer's perspective. If the horizon was actually the objective physical curvature of a globe, then objects receding beyond it could not be zoomed back into view, and it would remain fixed as an observer ascended. In reality, however, the horizon rises along with the observer no matter how high, and modern zoom technology can bring objects receding beyond it back into full view. This proves the horizon line is not some objective point of curvature on a convex Earth, but rather the subjective vanishing line of perspective from a given observer's point of view. Quoting Earth Not a Globe by Dr. Samuel Robotham, on the shore near Waterloo, a few miles to the north of Liverpool, a good telescope was fixed, at an elevation of 6 feet above the water. It was directed to a large steamer, just leaving the River Mersey and sailing out to Dublin. Gradually the masthead of the receding vessel came nearer to the horizon, until, at length, after more than 4 hours had elapsed, it disappeared. The ordinary rate of sailing of the Dublin steamers was fully 8 miles an hour, so that the vessel would be at least 32 miles distant when the masthead came to the horizon. The 6 feet of elevation of the telescope would require 3 miles to be deducted for convexity, which would leave 29 miles, the square of which, multiplied by 8 inches, gives 560 feet, deducting 80 feet for the height of the main mast, and we find that, according to the doctrine of rotundity, the masthead of the outward-bound steamer should have been 480 feet below the horizon. Many other experiments of this kind have been made upon sea-going steamers, and always with results entirely incompatible with the theory that the Earth is a globe. 5. Gyroscopes. Gyroscopes are precision instruments consisting of a wheel mounted inside 2 or 3 gimbals which provide pivoting support and allow the wheel to rotate about a single axis. As the entire contraption moves and shifts angles, the gimbals move and shift accordingly, but the inner wheel never changes its angle with respect to its initial reference frame. This unique property is called rigidity in space, meaning the inner wheel maintains its orientation and axis of rotation in relation to space and not to the surface of the Earth. This means that the base of a gyroscope set in motion with its axis in a vertical position, then placed on a table for 6 hours, should rotate 90 degrees with the spinning globe Earth. As the globe turns under the gyroscope for 6 hours, the axis should slowly turn from vertical to horizontal. This experiment has been tested many times with several full-length videos available online, and never does the gyroscope's vertical axis shift whatsoever. If the heliocentric model were true, not only would the gyroscope detect the alleged 1,000-mile-per-hour spin of the globe, but also the 67,000-mile-per-hour revolution around the Sun, the entire solar system's 500,000-mile-per-hour spiral around the Milky Way galaxy, and the entire galaxy's multi-million-mile-per-hour journey through the universe. Since these hypothetical motions never register on precision gyroscopes, it is clear that they, just like the spinning ball Earth they're based on, do not exist. Gyroscopes are also the technology behind inertial guidance systems and airplane artificial horizon indicators. When military jets are performing loops, barrel rolls, and other dogfighting maneuvers, the artificial horizon allows pilots to easily see their exact orientation relative to Earth without having to rely on looking out the window. If Earth was truly a sphere, by simply flying level, airplane artificial horizon indicators should show a steady decline unless pilots constantly correct their altitudes downwards so as not to fly straight off into so-called outer space. For example, a pilot traveling 500 miles per hour over a globe Earth 24,900 miles in circumference would have to descend an average of 2,777 feet, or over half a mile per minute. Otherwise, in 1 hour's time, the plane would be 31.5 miles higher than desired. In fact, if Earth was really a ball, there should be no reason to use rockets for flying into outer space, because simply flying an airplane straight at any altitude for long enough would already inevitably send you there. 6. Compasses. The mariner's compass is another precision instrument which can only work on a level plane Earth, and is an impossible and nonsensical tool for use on a globe. It simultaneously points north and south over a flat surface, and must be held flat to work, yet claims to be pinpointing two constantly moving geomagnetic poles at opposite ends of a spinning sphere originating from a hypothetical molten metal core. If compass needles were actually drawn to the North Pole of a globe, the opposing south needle would actually be pointing up and off into outer space. Likewise, observers holding a compass in Antarctica would be at the bottom of the ball, so to show north, the needle would have to point down at their feet. If the so-called South Pole in Antarctica were truly the southern pole of a magnet, observers would be able to walk in a circle with their backs to the South Pole and have their compass needles show north being in front of them in every direction. This feat has never and will never be achieved because the so-called South Pole is simply an arbitrary point along the Antarctic ice marked with a red and white barbershop pole and topped with a little metal ball Earth. The actual type of magnetism present on Earth is similar to a ring magnet found in loudspeakers, which have a central North Pole, with the opposite South Pole being all points along the outer circumference. This perfectly describes the magnetism of our flat Earth, whereas the alleged source of magnetism in the globe model is emitted from a hypothetical molten magnetic core in the center of the ball, which they claim conveniently causes both poles to constantly move and thus forever evade independent verification at their two ceremonial poles. 7. Plain sailing. Ship captains in navigating great distances at sea never need to factor the supposed curvature of the Earth into their calculations. Both plain sailing and great circle sailing, the most popular navigation methods, use plane, not spherical trigonometry, making all mathematical calculations on the assumption that the Earth is perfectly flat. If the Earth were in fact a sphere, such an errant assumption would lead to constantly glaring inaccuracies. Plain sailing has worked perfectly fine in both theory and practice for thousands of years, and plane trigonometry has time and again proven more accurate than spherical trigonometry in determining distances across the oceans. It is so commonly used at sea, Navigation in Theory and Practice states that, in practice, scarcely any other rules are used but those derived from plain sailing. The great and serious objection to plain sailing is that longitude cannot be found by it accurately, although in practice it is more frequently found by it than any other method. So both latitude and longitude are found most often and most accurately by assuming Earth to be flat, more accurately even than assuming the Earth to be spherical. Quoting 100 Proofs Earth is Not a Globe by William Carpenter, "If the Earth were a globe, a small model globe would be the very best, because the truest, thing for the navigator to take to sea with him. But such a thing as that is not known. With such a toy as a guide, the mariner would wreck his ship of a certainty. This is a proof that Earth is not a globe." 8. Construction. Surveyors, engineers, architects, and builders are never required to factor the supposed curvature of the Earth into their projects. Plumb bobs are used to establish plumb vertical datums, with spirit levels then used to establish horizontal datums and lay flat foundations across great expanses. If Earth was actually a globe of given proportions, builders would find themselves constantly deviating from both their established vertical and horizontal datum lines. But in reality, canals, railways, bridges, tunnels, and other large projects are always cut and laid horizontally, often over hundreds of miles, without any allowance for curvature, and no deviation from established datums. As stated by surveyor T. Westwood in Earth Review magazine, quote, "In leveling, I work from ordnance marks, or canal levels, to get the height above sea level. The puzzle to me used to be that over several miles, each level was and is treated throughout its whole length as the same level from end to end, not the least allowance being made for curvature." The Suez Canal, which connects the Mediterranean Sea with the Gulf of Suez on the Red Sea, is one clear proof of both the Earth's and water's non-convexity. The canal is 100 miles long and without any locks, so the water within is an uninterrupted continuation of the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea. When it was constructed, the Earth's supposed curvature was not taken into account. It was dug along a horizontal datum line 26 feet below sea level, passing through several lakes from one sea to the other, with the datum line and the water's surface running perfectly parallel over the 100 miles. Another good example is the Dunyang Kunshan Bridge, the longest bridge in the world, just over 102 miles long, which runs parallel to the Yangtze River and connects the Shanghai and Nanjing provinces. This bridge is approximately the same length as the Suez Canal, and was also built without factoring the alleged curvature of the Earth. If Earth was actually a globe 24,900 miles in circumference, spherical trigonometry dictates that the center of both the Suez Canal and the Dunyang Kunshan Bridge would bulge over 1,666 feet higher than either end. Engineer W. Winkler was published in the Earth Review regarding the Earth's supposed curvature, stating, "As an engineer of many years' standing, I saw that this absurd allowance is only permitted in school books. No engineer would dream of allowing anything of the kind. I have projected many miles of railways and many more of canals, and the allowance has not even been thought of, much less allowed for. This allowance for curvature means this, that it is 8 inches for the first mile of a canal, and increasing at the ratio by the square of the distance in miles. Thus a small navigable canal for boats, say 30 miles long, will have, by the above rule, an allowance for curvature of 600 feet. Think of that, and then please credit engineers as not being quite such fools. Nothing of the sort is allowed. We no more think of allowing 600 feet for a line of 30 miles of railway or canal than of wasting our time trying to square the circle. Railroads are another example of large-scale construction projects spanning hundreds or even thousands of miles, working from an established datum line and without deviating for the entire length. The Manchester Ship Canal Company, in an official statement published in Earth Review magazine, confirmed, quote, "It is customary in railway and canal constructions for all levels to be referred to a datum which is nominally horizontal, and is so shown on all sections. It is not the practice in laying out public works to make allowances for the curvature of the earth." As an example, the London and North Western Railway forms a straight line 180 miles long between London and Liverpool. The railroad's highest point, midway at Birmingham Station, is only 240 feet above sea level. But if Earth was actually a globe of given proportions, the 180-mile stretch of rail would form an arc with its center point at Birmingham raising over a mile, a full 5,400 feet above London and Liverpool. A surveyor and engineer of 30 years, published in the Birmingham Weekly Mercury, stated, "I am thoroughly acquainted with the theory and practice of civil engineering. However bigoted some of our professors may be in the theory of surveying according to the prescribed rules, yet it is well known amongst us that such theoretical measurements are incapable of any practical illustration. All our locomotives are designed to run on what may be regarded as true levels or flats. There are, of course, partial inclines or gradients here and there, but they are always accurately defined and must be carefully traversed. But anything approaching to 8 inches in the mile, increasing as the square of the distance, could not be worked by any engine that was ever yet constructed. Taking one station with another all over England and Scotland, it may be stated that all the platforms are on the same relative level. The distance between eastern and western coasts of England may be set down as 300 miles. If the prescribed curvature was indeed as represented, the central stations at Rugby or Warwick ought to be close upon 3 miles higher than a cord drawn from the two extremities. If such was the case, there is not a driver or stoker within the kingdom that would be found to take charge of the train. We can only laugh at those of your readers who seriously give us credit for such venturesome exploits as running trains round spherical curves. Horizontal curves on levels are dangerous enough. Vertical curves would be 1,000 times worse, and with our rolling stock constructed as at present, physically impossible. 9. Long-distance photography. We are consistently able to observe objects at incredibly long distances, far beyond what would be possible if Earth was actually a globe of given proportions. By inputting the observer height and distance viewed into an Earth curvature calculator, it is easy to check how much a target should be obstructed on a globe Earth. For example, it is often possible to see the Chicago skyline from sea level 60 miles away across Lake Michigan. In 2015, after photographer Joshua Nowicki photographed this phenomenon, several news channels quickly claimed his picture to be a superior mirage, an atmospheric anomaly caused by temperature inversion. While these certainly do occur, the skyline in question was facing right side up and clearly seen, unlike a hazy, illusory mirage, and on a ball Earth 24,900 miles in circumference should be a full 2,400 feet below the horizon. In Genoa, Italy, from only 70 feet above sea level, on clear days it is possible to see the distant islands of Elba, Gorgona, Caprea, and Corsica, which are 81, 99, 102, and 125 miles away. If Earth was truly a globe of given proportions, all 4 islands could never be visible for such an observer, and would be hidden behind 3,300, 5,200, 5,600, and 8,700 feet of curved water. From Anchorage, Alaska, at an elevation of 102 feet, on clear days, both Mount Foraker and Mount McKinley can be seen in their entirety, standing straight from base to summit with the naked eye from 120 and 130 miles away, respectively. If Earth was really a ball of given circumference, both mountains should be leaning back away from the observer, with the lower half of each mountain completely obstructed from view. Based on verifiable curvature calculations, 7,719 feet of Mount Foraker's 17,400-foot summit and 9,220 feet of Mount McKinley's 20,320-foot summit should be hidden behind a giant bulge of curved globular earth. The current record-breaking longest-distance zoom photograph recently captured Pic Gaspard from Pic de Finestrelles, a whopping 275 miles away, with an observer height of approximately 9,000 feet, from which, based on correct curvature calculations, the entire 12,740-foot mountain should be invisible behind nearly 6 miles of curved earth. Even more recently, flat earthers like J. Tolan Media have been filming using infrared zoom cameras at high altitudes to capture lakes, mountains, and other landmarks up to an incredible 1,000 miles away. If Earth was really a globe the size we are told, many of the landmarks photographed would be hidden behind upwards of 70 miles of curved earth. 10. Lighthouses. The distance from which various lighthouse lights around the world are visible at sea also far exceeds what could be found on a globe of given proportions. For example, the Dunkirk light in southern France, at an altitude of 194 feet, is visible from a boat 10 feet above sea level, 28 miles away. Spherical trigonometry dictates that if Earth was a globe with the given curvature rate, this light should be hidden 190 feet below the horizon. The Port Nicholson light in New Zealand is 420 feet above sea level and visible from 35 miles away, where it should be 220 feet below the horizon. The Agero light in Norway is 154 feet above high water and visible from 28 statute miles, where it should be 230 feet below the horizon. The light at Madras on the Esplanade is 132 feet high and visible from 28 miles away, where it should be 250 feet below the line of sight. The Cordonin light on the west coast of France is 207 feet high and visible from 31 miles away, where it should be 280 feet below the line of sight. The light at Cape Bonavista, Newfoundland, is 150 feet above sea level and visible at 35 miles, where it should be 491 feet below the horizon. The lighthouse steeple of St. Botolph's Parish Church in Boston is 290 feet tall and visible from over 40 miles away, where it should be hidden a full 800 feet below the horizon. The Isle of Wight lighthouse in England is 180 feet high and can be seen up to 42 miles away, a distance at which modern astronomers say the light should fall 996 feet below the line of sight. The Cape Legulas lighthouse in South Africa is 33 feet high, 238 feet above sea level, and can be seen for over 50 miles. If the world was a globe, this light would fall 1,400 feet below an observer's line of sight. And finally, the lighthouse at Port Said, Egypt, at an elevation of only 60 feet, has been seen an astonishing 58 miles away, where according to modern astronomy, it should be 2,182 feet below the line of sight. 11. Impossible atmosphere. If Earth was truly a globe, constantly spinning eastwards at over 1,000 miles per hour, it stands to reason that helicopters and hot air balloons should be able to simply hover over the surface of the Earth and wait for their destinations to come to them. For example, during the Red Bull Stratosphere dive, Felix Baumgartner, spending 3 hours ascending over New Mexico, should have landed 2,500 miles west into the Pacific Ocean, but instead actually landed a few dozen miles east of the takeoff point. Likewise, vertically fired cannonballs and other projectiles should fall significantly due west on an eastward spinning ball. In actual fact, however, whenever this has been tested, vertically fired cannonballs shoot upwards an average of 14 seconds ascending, 14 seconds descending, and fall back to the ground no more than 2 feet away from the cannon, sometimes directly back into the muzzle. To account for this problem, globe defenders claim that gravity somehow magically and inexplicably drags the entire lower atmosphere of the Earth in perfect synchronization up to some undetermined height where this progressively faster and faster spinning atmosphere gives way to the non-spinning, non-gravitized, non-atmosphere of supposed infinite vacuum space. NASA refuses to answer at what altitude this impossible feat allegedly happens, but the effect such a transition would have on a craft traversing it would be disastrous. It is also scientifically refuted by the simple fact that vacuums cannot exist connected to non-vacuums while maintaining the properties of a vacuum. As anyone who has punctured an aerosol can knows, two adjacent pressure systems, not separated by some kind of barrier or membrane, will equilibrate. If gravity magically dragged the atmosphere along with the spinning ball Earth, that would mean the atmosphere at the poles would be spinning at 0 miles per hour, while over the mid-latitudes it would be spinning around 500 miles per hour, and gradually faster until reaching the equator, where Earth and the atmosphere would be spinning together at over 1,000 miles per hour. Not only would this gravitized atmosphere increase speed from poles to the equator, but would also necessarily progressively increase speed the higher the altitude. In reality, however, the atmosphere at every point on Earth is equally unaffected by this alleged force, as it has never been measured and is proven non-existent by the ability of airplanes to fly unabated in any direction without experiencing any such atmospheric changes. Landing airplanes on such fast-moving runways, facing all manner of directions, north, south, east, west, and otherwise, would also be practically impossible. Not to mention rain, fireworks, birds, bugs, clouds, smoke, balloons, and projectiles would all behave very differently if the Earth and its atmosphere were constantly spinning. Tests were conducted in the 19th century with cannons facing each of the cardinal directions, which proved Earth and its atmosphere are not spinning. If they were, then north and south-facing cannons would establish a control, while east-firing cannonballs should fall significantly farther than all others, while west-firing cannonballs should fall significantly closer. In actual fact, however, regardless of which direction cannons are fired, the distance covered is always the same. Common sense tells us if Earth and its atmosphere were constantly spinning eastwards over 1,000 miles per hour, this should somewhere, somehow, be seen, heard, felt, or measured by someone, yet no one in history has ever experienced this alleged eastward motion. Meanwhile, however, we can hear, feel, and experimentally measure even the slightest westward breeze. Furthermore, clouds, wind, and weather patterns casually and unpredictably meander every which way, with clouds often traveling in opposing directions at varying altitudes simultaneously. This is altogether incompatible with the theory of a rapidly rotating Earth and atmosphere. 12.
Right, we'll watch the rest of that next time.
Was only true in fairy tales, and for someone else, but not for me. Our love was out to get me, that's the way it seemed. Disappointment haunted all my dreams. Then I saw her face, now I'm a believer. Not a trace of doubt in my mind. I'm in love, I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. I thought love was more or less a given thing. Seems the more I gave, the less I got.
We don't need no stinking badges.
Just a little seed makes a big tree, standing on its own, thriving all alone. Just a little seed makes a big tree, grows so high, gonna touch the sky. Just a little seed.
Massive shout out to everyone that come in today. Much appreciated, guys. Thank you very much.
Masonic lockdown in your hometown. Masonic lockdown. Can you hear me now? From the top down, soul shock down, state shakedown, mass breakdown, global.
Good morning, Tony. Afternoon. Morning. Yeah, cheers, Happy. Thank you. Cheers, well, chill. Slow. Art. Marvey, hey Marvey.
Like a bad dream, the plants a microchip, every woman, child and man. The plants to chip us all, to have complete control, the land, the sky, your soul.
Thank you, Shlo.
Peace like silence in the snow. You're free to do exactly as you're told. Obey, consume, and die. And up to heaven for your pie up in the sky. Sleepwalking, dream. believe your lying eyes. Geoengineering, making more than patterns in the skies. 5G radiation, beamed to Earth from space by satellites.
Marvey, I know. Some of us have got businesses to run, right? Chill's got his own business. We're not all homeless. You are right. No, I don't want to. No, when someone's down on their luck like that, you know, no matter who they are, I don't like to poke at the situation they're in. You know, he's got to be in a pretty tough situation, right?
Hypnotized, right in front of your eyes. Drama and lies. Look into my eyes. Just a little seed makes a big tree.
Hey, thanks, Insu. Thanks for coming in, dude.
Just a little seed makes a big tree grow so high.
I bought one of those Keith sieves, 150 microns. Man, the smoke you get off of that is just unbelievable. So much better. I thought you'd heard. He might have done, Chill. He might have done. Might have cleaned up his appearance a little, like Martin Leidke did. With his brand new set of Nashers. It cost thousands. Wonder where he got that money from.
Like a bad dream, the plants are microchip, every woman, child and man. The plants are just for all, to have complete control, the land, the sky, your soul. Na 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 na, 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 na na na.
We're taking things that are, genetically modified organisms and we're injecting them into little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein. But you don't have a choice. People act like you have a choice.
The greatest form of control is where you think you're free when you're being fundamentally manipulated and dictated to. One form of dictatorship is being in a prison cell and you can see the bars and touch it. The other one is sitting in a prison cell but you can't see the bar, you think you're free.
What the human race is suffering from is mass hypnosis. We are being hypnotized by people like this. Newsreaders, politicians, teachers, lecturers.
We are in a country and in a world that is being run by unbelievably sick people. The chasm between what we're told is going on and what is really going on is absolutely enormous.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying shit. What happened to the home of the brave? These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about how they made us fight and be slaves. And everybody's just walking around, heading the clouds and wanna wake up to a dead in the grave. But then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end of days.
Everybody is slaves, only some are aware that the government releasing poison in the air. That's the reason I collect so many guns in my lair. I ain't never caught slipping, never underprepared. Yeah, they shade sign on me, they display it proudly. George Bush, the grandson of Alistair Crowley. They want you to believe the lie that the enemy's Saudi. The enemy ain't Saudi, the enemy around me. It's fluoride in the water, but nobody know that. It's also a prominent ingredient in Prozac. For real? How could any government bestow that upon people who believe in political throwback? That's not all that I'm here to present you. I know about the Black Pope and Solomon's Temple. Yeah. About the Vatican assassins and how they will get you. And how they clone Barack Hussein Obama in a test tube.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying shit what happened to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about how they made us modern day slaves. And everybody's just walking around, head in the clouds, and wanna wake up to a dead in the grave. But then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end.
Whoever built the pyramids had knowledge of electrical power. And you know that that's the information that they suppress and devour. Who you think the motherfuckers that crashed in the tower? Who you think that made it turn into ash in an hour? The same ones that invaded your own. The ones that never told you about the skeletons on the moon. Yeah, the ones that poison all the food you consume. The ones that never told you about the Mount Vesuvius tombs. The bird flu is a lie. The swan flu is a lie. Why would that even come as a surprise? Yeah.
I think that's the best line in the whole track.
It caused cancer and it cost a lot of people their lives. Do y'all know about Bohemian Grove? How the world leaders sacrificing children in robes? Lucifer is God in the public school system. I suggest you open up your ears.
Vinny looks unstable. Oh no.
What happened to the home of the brave? These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about how they made us modern day slaves. And everybody's just walking around, head in the clouds, and wanna wake up to a dead in the grave. But then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end of days.
The greatest hypnotist on planet Earth is a oblong box in the corner of the room. It is constantly telling us what to believe is real.
If you can persuade people that what they see with their eyes is what there is to see, you got them. Because they'll laugh in the face of an explanation that portrays the bigger picture of what's happening. And they have.
Okay. Alright guys, have a great day. I've got quite a lot to do now. Quite a busy day ahead. I will see you Saturday. Till then, take care.